Hello there everyone and welcome to the Sochi Autodrome. It's round 3 of the 2016 GPVWC Supercup season. And yes, you are watching for free. We're not going to go pay exclusive anytime soon. My name is James Kirk and on cameras once again is Ben Willis, and well, our lovely friend Sam Jones is off doing his own thing today, but in his place we have the wonderful Northerner that is Joshua Anderson to join me. And Josh, today, Sochi Autodrome, we saw some very interesting racing yesterday in Formula Challenge in the Open Series. You were with me when we watched the World Sports Series event here. Not the cleanest event there as well, so really we're hoping that Supercup, like we saw in Bahrain, can really show what the series is all about and put on an excellent, clean show for us with some excellent racing to boot.
Yep, we know Supercup can give some fantastic racing as we've seen over the years, and hopefully today won't be any exception to that. And, well, it's that sort of series, isn't it? Where if it's going to go well, it's going to go well here. Because it's the series that's given us some fantastic action over the years. It's the series that's going to show really whether Sochi has a future here at GPV, which I'm fairly sure it will. But, you know, I think this is going to be the real proven point of how good Supercup's racing is going to be here. Well, because Supercup are racing, and, well, that usually brings fun stuff.
Fun stuff is always great in my eyes as well. Of course, as you rightly say, it's the first time that the GPVWC has travelled to Sochi Autodrome in the career ladder. And I believe I'm right in saying it's the first time that the Super Cup has travelled to Russia at all as well. And with a new track comes the opportunity for perhaps some people to gain the upper hand on some of their rivals. And the man who did that in free practice was Adrian Holm, who set a time of a 1:44.8, which was 7/10 faster than anybody else during the free practice. Now, he hasn't been able to replicate that throughout official practice or indeed qualifying, but he is still on provisional pole position by 4/10. So for the Swedish person who has really come into this season as a bit of a surprise, but a much welcome surprise. He's really added a new dynamic to the Super Cup this season. He's looking pretty nice at the moment and in a very handy position to take what could be his first ever career ladder pole position.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something for Adrian Holm as well? He's going to be hopefully able to use that fantastically as well, because, well, we all know how good he is. Fantastic driver, and it would be Go Sport's first pole position in the process, I do believe.
It would be, yeah.
Because,
absolutely.
You know, they're
only been here 3 races.
Yeah, they've only been here 3 races.
3 rounds, rather, sorry.
3 rounds, rather, jumping in the place of Simcraft Racing, who aren't with us this season. But, you know, pole after this long would not be bad. I mean, I would have liked to have a pole position for my team in our first race, but it didn't quite happen.
I tell you what, the qualifying session as well so far, we've got 5 minutes to go, has been incredibly close apart from home. From 2nd down to 16th, they are all covered by 1 single second. And if you even go back to 23rd, that's still only covered by 2.7 seconds. So despite the fact that this is a new track, and a very long track at that as well, one of the top 5 longest on the calendar now here at in the career ladder, there are still some very close times going on. And the top 5 currently is Holm, Capit, Brugman, Francis and Beresford. And if we go on board with number 5, Beresford here, Ben Willis, will take you on a lap of Sochi Autodrome. Very long run down to the first major braking zone. We're going through turn 1 now. This isn't where the problems have lied that the races that have taken part before Super Cup. It's here, down at turn 2 and turn 3, a heavy braking zone into a hairpin, followed by a corner that goes back in on itself, cause all sorts of trouble. And turn 4, a corner which I thought was going to cause lots of trouble, actually seen some excellent overtakes. It's a long left-hander opening up into turn 5 here, a right-hander, and then heading down to turn 6 as Scott goes off track there, so that'd be an extension of track limits if he does complete the lap. This is a very difficult braking zone, a big bump down into turn 6. Drivers have got to be wary about that as we head through the kink of turn 7 before we go into the braking zone of turn 8. And Scott taking this part nicely as we head into a very Puon-esque section here. Turns 9 and 10, opening up the throttle once again into another relatively heavy braking zone of turn 11. And then we have the curved back straight, as I like to call it. It is effectively 2 turns, but there's no braking here. It's flat out through turn 12. And then it's flat out for a time through turn 13. But it's heavy onto the brakes here for turn 14. The chicane that goes under the bridge and through turn 15. Seen so many people dropping it out of here in the career ladder and WSS. It's a cambered corner opening up to the right before we head into another chicane. Turn 16 going uphill. Now going downhill through turn 17. And then the final two corners are relatively simple. I can see Scott's actually backing up here. But turn 17 here, very tight corner, but not as tight as the final corner, turn 18. Really got to get your angles right and put yourself on the power. Scott not improving through that lap, obviously, because he extended and held himself up at the end there. But that is Sochi Autodrome, a very difficult track with a few overtaking opportunities, but you really have to be right alongside someone if you want to get something done through here.
Yep, it's not the easiest track to overtake on. I'm just looking at Mr. Capit now. He's 0.261 up after the second sector, I think. That is probably going to give him a good chance of overholding Adrian Holm here, but he has got to get this last sector right, otherwise that's going to fall apart. Then again, there are still 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to go, so he's going to likely get 2 more laps in at this rate.
That's if he's got the fuel.
If he's got the fuel, but it's going to be interesting to see if he does overhaul Holm. It comes to the last corner. Is he going to do it? He does not, but he goes up to second.
200ths between the two of them, actually, and he's just deposed Sven de Vries, who just overtook him for second position. In terms of the rest of the top four, Lars Brugman there, our championship leader in P4, and then a really, really good effort here from Dino Paolini in P5. He took a fastest lap last time out in Bahrain, the Zurich driver, and he's actually just been taken out of the top 5 by Wright Tulikas, who had a very disappointing event, but he's up to P4, overtaking Lars Brugman. Paolini now down to P6 with Francic, Bereson, Muscat, and Danny Asbury, who's yet to score a point this season for Go Sport International. It's his teammate that's been doing all the talking so far. He rounds out the top 10 currently. In terms of people who are coming back into the series, actually, new drivers for this year. Tom van der Voort, we welcome him back. He's actually done with qualifying. A multiple race winner last year with Simcraft before moving up to Midnight Motorsports. He's currently P14 and he won't be moving up anytime soon either. Who else do we have? We have Wupke Hoekstra. We welcome back Wupke. He's back with Zurich Racing. Only as a reserve though this time and looking very squirrely as he heads on to probably his last flying lap. And also Morten Wernerson, the last we saw him was a year ago at the Bahrain Supercup Grand Prix with Enterprise GP, sponsored by Twitch back then. He's currently in the bottom 3 in 26, but still ahead of Mark Fuller. And Terence Grech, actually, who looks to be filling in for... Actually, I'm pretty sure I saw Ruiz and Waring here. So who is Grech with? Grech's with Racing Team Stroton, so he'll be filling in for Timu Toika, who is not here today. But big news at the front. Adrian Holm is done. Risto Capit's coming around the final corner now, and Risto Capit's taken that pole position away from Holm. And Capit's done now as well. Sven de Vries is into the pits. Francic up to 4th, so is he going to do another lap? I think he is. So Risto Capit currently on provisional pole position. Holm will have to wait for another day. Who else can possibly overhaul him? Wright Tulikas, I see Brugman's done actually there in P6. Wright Tulikas is into the pit, so it might be up to David Francic here to try and even challenge. He's only 4/10 away, mind you, so he's not totally out of the picture.
Yeah, I was just looking at Dino Paolini there. I think he had pace too, personally, but he's just pulled off. I think he thinks he cut the track there, so he's not going to do it. So it is down to Francic now. I personally think that Paolini, he was on very, very lightning form through one lap, but he just outbraked himself into 14 and got the car sideways a bit, and that ruined his lap there. So that has probably hurt his chances of the pole. I think that would have been a very close to pole lap. So watch Paolini in the race, certainly, but Francic now seems to be the last hope for any change to depose Capit.
Jason Muscat jumps up to P6, so that secures another Multiforce top 10 for him, but his teammate Menno Klont, where is he? P19 for Klont. His woeful qualifying run continues. He really needs to sort it out because he's hindering himself in the race. We'll focus on David Francic now, the teammate of Risto Capit, the only man who can depose him, as Menno Klont actually responds to my comments immediately up to P12. That is a bit better, at least, from the Dutchman. Goes through turn 16. Goes through turn 17, the Croatian. Who's up ahead of him? It's Danny Asbury trying to improve from P10. We'll see whether Asbury can improve on that position. He's going to round the final corner now. He does not improve. What about Francic, though? Nope, no improvement. And so, Risto Capit then. He takes his first pole position of the year.
Adrian Hall will be kicking himself there, I think, because he almost had it, but then didn't. He'll be absolutely kicking himself, thinking, I think he and the rest of the grid will be thinking, what do I have to do to depose Capit from pole?
Yeah, it's only by 10. I tell you what, pole's a lot closer than I was expecting, especially given Holmes' dominance in free practice. So look at the other positions, though, to round out the top 10. De Vries then, another strong position there for the American P3. David Frances, we say P4. Right, Tulikas with a much better showing in qualifying, P5 for Enterprise. Muscat P6 for Multiforce. Brugman, our championship leader, down in P7. Given De Vries, Holm and Capit, the three behind him, and Francis indeed, the four behind him are all above him. Not so good from the Dutchman. Paulini with a great effort in P8. Beresford into the top 10 P9. So that's a good time, good qualifying for Enterprise. And Danny Asbury rounding out the top 10. So ultimately, the teams to come out with probably the most hope going into this race would be Street Fighter once again, Ghost Sport, and Enterprise GP.
Yeah, they seem to be the ones that we'll want to be looking out for. But just look at qualifying order there. Just a couple of... Yeah, Sven de Vries third could be a good shout for success in the race because Sven's very good in these cars, as we've seen throughout all the time he's been in Super Cup. Van der Voort only 15th. Well, it is a new simulator, and I think it's his first Alpha 2 out of Super Cup.
Yeah, so he says. That's pretty good, actually.
But for 15th, that's pretty good. But I reckon in the race he might just come alight a bit. Because, he has had Super League success before, he's had Super Cup success before, he's had many races here and, well, knows the competition at least. And that's a good advantage to have.
It's been the racecraft which Van der Voort has been criticised for the most, I think, in the entire of his career. There's no doubting the man has got incredible pace. But when it comes to wheel-to-wheel racing, he's suffered sometimes. And I think, actually, R-Factor 2 can go one of two ways with Van der Voort. Either he'll become a much cleaner driver because obviously the contact in R-Factor 2 is much more subtle. If you have contact here, it's going to cost you big time. Or we could see him in more crashes, or he could remain exactly the same. I'm fascinated to see how he does, though. He's with Satellite Racing, by the way. Obviously, Simcraft not here anymore. He's with Satellite Racing, replacing Craig Baxter. I'm not sure if it's permanent or not. Would be lovely if it is permanent, though, because Tom provided us with some excellent racing. Apart from the couple of dodgy moments last year, he had some wonderful races last year as well, and as I've said, multiple race winner as well, so he's clearly got the pace in there somewhere. And who else has perhaps been a bit out of position? Well, Niels Brugman didn't have the best of events last time out, and actually a penalty in race 1 saw him no score for the event. He's down in P14, which for Team Proline will not be good, considering that their nearest rival, Street Fighter, are P1 and P4. Let's see, Boya Milan a bit out of position as well. Eric Strana down in P20. Now, after his podium last time in Bahrain, that is a surprise to see him down there. But he's outqualified his teammate at least, maybe just the setup and the track combination, which has really hampered them. And Andrew Waring down in P28, dearie me. So we've got a couple of people out of position. But more or less, the people up the front who we were expecting. It looks like Capit, Holm, De Vries and Francis are really the class of this field today. And Lars Brugman, he's a little bit behind them, but he's a great racer, Lars, so I'm sure that he'll get involved in the mix no matter what.
Yeah, Strana, only 20th is a big surprise for me. But then again, I'd expect to see him slice through a couple of cars there, get himself back into a more front-running position. But yeah, that's not really what I'd expect to see from Eric. Obviously not had the best qualifying session. But things can change, and, well, we'll see after. We'll have to see how he fares in the race, so to speak. But yeah, that's probably going to have to wait until the actual races come by before we can judge that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, actually, you know what? On the subject of Eric, I'm also aware that, for whatever reason, he's actually going to be missing Spain and Turkey the next 2 rounds. So, you know what? I've got this feeling that Ice Cold Racing are just going to have a really up and down campaign. They're going to have some races where they're absolutely on fire, and they're going to have some races where their races combust. unfortunately, to use the two sides of the coin there. This might just be one of those races where they'll have to hope and pray that points come their way through other people falling off the track.
I guess that's unfortunately going to have to be the case. I mean, they've not had, overall the series in the GPV, just taking a sort of broader perspective of things, they haven't had really the successes so far that they had in previous years. And,
No.
you know, some of that could be attributed to the fact that Eric Strana isn't necessarily in all of their lineups. But I guess, you know, that it's not really going exactly the year in total how they'd have wanted, but, you know, don't take that at all to mean that they're not going to have as good a year as,
no.
They can throw up easy, ice cold, or a race-winning team. They've got the talent and they've got the drivers to do extremely well. It's just seeing Eric Strana down there might be a bit disconcerting.
Both Strana and Olsen actually race winners last year in Formula Challenge, so, you know, they do have the pace. At least to score points in this series, that's for sure. And obviously Eric has shown that he has the pace this year to score podiums because he did it in Bahrain. But then again, Bahrain, a very, very different circuit to the likes of Russia and Melbourne. So maybe for the likes of Strana, it'll be the tracks with straights, like Bahrain, like Monza, where perhaps he'll gain the most in the table. We've got 5 seconds left before our warm-up session is finished. That's French, not Russian. I need to find out what Russian... Fini? No. I'll try and find out what finished is in Russian, and then I'll get back to you guys. But, Josh, looking at that top four of, you know, likes of Capit, of Holm, De Vries, Francic, do you think that we're going to be looking at one of those four to win our race one of 30 laps, or do you think the likes of maybe Tulakas or our championship leader Brugman from P7 will rise up through the ranks and take the win for themselves?
It seems the likely outcome. I'll say that much. Anything could happen, but it seems the likely outcome that one of the top four will then go on to win the race. I wouldn't count any of the top 7 out, but it just seems the most likely scenario that one of the top 4 win.
You going to take a punt on one driver?
You know what? I am indeed. I'm going to go, and, well, yeah, I'm going to go for Sven de Vries. I just think, I've just got a good, the first one that just came to mind there was de Vries. So, very much a good instinct.
Don't blame you, very accomplished driver. Just to make things interesting, I am going to go for Capit from pole position.
I thought you would.
Because that's what he did in the World Sports Series last week.
Yeah, I was going to go for Risto, but then I thought you might go for Risto, and my gut was saying de Vries, so...
Going to go for devil's advocate.
Yeah. I thought that might, I thought you might, so... Yeah, it was just Sven jumps out, you know?
Of course. As I say, very accomplished racer, been in Supercup many years, accumulated many wins to his name, got a win 2 weeks ago as well, so we know he's got the pace to do good things. Of course, don't count out the likes of Holm, of Francic, Brugman, so on, because honestly, turn 2 is a very, very tight corner, and we've seen plenty of good drivers spinning there. You said, Josh?
Oh, yes, I was about to say, I found out what the Russian is for finished is.
Oh, go for it.
I think it's pronounced Zakonsheny or something like that. I can't speak Russian, so...
Zakonsheny?
I can't. Someone would like to do a pronunciation for us, please do. But I'll go today's put it in the comments, so...
Well, for now, let's Zakonsheny this small talk and get on with our formation lap. It's Risto Capit for Street Fighter Racing Systems, who leads us off. He is on pole position for the first time this year. Took pole positions a couple of times last year, though, remember, with Walk Racing. We then have Adrian Holm, P2 for Go Sport International. It's his highest starting place this year. Sven de Vries for Satellite Racing starts P3 with David Francic for Street Fighter P4. Right Tulakas for Enterprise starts P5 with Jason Muscat P6 for Multiforce. Lars Brugman is P7 for Team Proline with Dino Paolini P8 for Mazurek Racing. Scott Beresford is P9 for Enterprise, and then rounding out the top 10 is Go Sport International's Danny Asbury. Edgar Ruiz will start P11 for TG Racing with Menno Klomp P12 for Multiforce. Maurice Bracken is the leader of the Foxes in P13 with Niels Brugman P14 for Team Proline. Tom van der Voort on his return to the Super Cup is P15 for Satellite Racing with Dennis Jordan, the leader of the Evolutions in P16. Boyer Milan is the leader of the STs in P17 with Riera, the leader of the racing team Strotons in P18. And we've got all the leaders here as Lewis McGlade starts P19 for Kayala Racing, and the top 20 is rounded out by Andrew Waring. Eric Strana then will start P21, so it must have been a late lunge there from Waring qualifying, because Strana starts P21, leading an ice-cold Noah's Ark with Olsen in P22. Marcel Rauter starts P23 for Evolution with Wopke Hoekstra, slightly disappointing P24 for Mazurek. Aaron Evening will start P25 for Kayala, with on his return Morten Wernerson starting P26 for Fox. Mark Fuller will start P27 for ST Racing, but rounding out the grid for Racing Team Stroton will be Terence Gurek, the Maltese driver, filling in for Timu Toika. So, that's your grid. Another thing to mention before we go racing is that there is the possibility of rain. It'd be the first time we've seen rain in our Factor 2 for, 3 years since the Masters of 2013? Big curveball rain, especially in this series, which is much more realistic, or in the simulator, which is much more realistic. Will be interesting to see whether the drivers have perhaps created some setups to compromise.
It will be, yeah, because there is a serious threat of rain, as we've seen, which we haven't had at Sochi so far. So there may be compromise setups going on, there might be full dry setups going on. Personally, were it me, if I wasn't certain, I'd just go for full dry setup either way and just get the dry, pace on it. But then again, I'm the sort of person who would love rain, because changeable conditions and adapting to change is something I'm quite good at. So it'll be interesting to see who done what, and I guess the first few laps will be the teller of that. But if it does rain, we will have to see who can find the best way to deal with it, and that person will have probably the greatest chance of assuming the race lead.
I remember Jason Muscat having a wonderful rain race in Portugal last year. It's a real mixer-upper, and its presence would certainly be most welcome in this race, but we certainly hope that there will be good battling either way, as all of the drivers are lined up now, and we look up to the lights, ready to go racing in Russia in the Sochi Autodrome for the first time in Super Cup. And there's someone just like our position. There we go. We've got 2, 3, 4, and 5 lights. And we are racing here in Russia. And it's a good start from Risto Capit there. It's a decent start from Holm. But it's a better start from De Vries, who's going around the outside of Holm. And actually, Holm's gotten the slipstream there from Risto Capit. So heading down into turn 1. We've got a 3-way battle. So close. Holm breaks very late. And he takes the lead. Sven De Vries forced off the track. And he's going to rejoin ahead of Risto Capit there. Holm takes the lead, though. That is crucial for the Swedish driver. Great start behind Lars Brugman, already up to P5. He's had a wonderful start there past Jason Muscat. Tula cars down to P7, Ruiz up to P9, Paulini down to P10, as there's a lot of drivers there off onto the AstroTurf. People just trying to get back on now. Clean start, though. Great to see. Oh, my word. That's Klomp round. That's Klomp round in the midfield, but actually he's just been pushed back round as well. Lovely. Clean racing and people helping each other. Wonderful to see. Holm leads though by 5/10. Sven De Vries second. The two street fighters following in close pursuit. Lars Brugman, great start from him overall. He's already gained 2 positions. He's right with Frančić already. Jason Muscat remaining P6. Tulakas, of course, losing the most there. And looking at Danny Asbury as well, he's down to P12. Niels Brugman's actually had a good start as well. He's up to P11. Tom van der Voort up to P14 and Lewis McGlade up to P15. So the Englishman, through avoiding lots of different mini battles in those first few duels, has actually come out very nicely indeed. He's got Boyer Milan sniffing down his neck though for that final point position. The leaders though are just coming through the final sector now and through the final 2 corners. It has been a lovely clean start from everyone. There has been some very exciting racing. At the end of lap 1, a slide out to the final corner. It's home from De Vries, Frančić, Brugman, Muscat, Tulakas, Beresford, Ruiz and Paulini rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, we've got 2 people just retired actually. Marcel Rauter and Andrew Waring have both gone out. So that's a bit of a disaster for them.
Oh, and Fuller as well.
Yep, they have done, and I'm having a look at De Vries here, who is making significant inroads on home, it looks like. He's definitely at least keeping distance, if not gaining on the Swedes. So if he can make the ground up, keep the consistency going, expect Sven to make a move for the lead, but Capit a whole second behind the American. So this is definitely not what we used to see from Bristol. We'd expect him to be right up there with Sven, but not quite happening for the Estonian yet. It may be in the later stage of the race he gets that pace back, but his latest and closest worry is going to be his teammate, David Frančić. But De Vries starting to make serious ground on home here.
It's almost like a carbon copy of Melbourne and Bahrain. The quali pace is there, but the race pace just isn't sharp enough. I must apologise, by the way, if I've gone a little bit laggy. I do notice that my pings are a little all over the place. But yeah, Holm and De Vries pulling away from Capit. Very interesting. Frančić, Brugman, Muscat, Tulikas and Beresford all holding pace behind. And then there's a little bit of a gap to Ruiz there in 9th. Paulini and Niels Brugman now breathing down the Germans' neck of P11. Bracan up to P12, Van der Voort up to P13, McGlade up to P14 and Boyer Milan up to P15. That means that someone has fallen out of the top 15. And that would be Danny Alfrey, who's down to P24. So the Americans' campaign goes from bad to worse. But yeah, 3 retirements in that first lap. I didn't even notice them until you pointed them out, Josh. Fuller, Rauter and Waring all gone. Fuller with an accident, Rauter with suspension damage, and Waring a flat-out DNF. And that could mean anything, including rage quits, disconnections, whatever. We certainly hope it was just a disconnection and not a rage quit. But look at that. De Vries now 2 seconds clear of Capit. And actually, Capit under a lot of pressure from his own teammate, David Frančić. Now, what will Street Fighter do here if Frančić is looking like the faster driver?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say I'm going to be not going to be wanting to cry team orders or anything because, well, you never know because you don't actually have the managers with you. I'd imagine they'd be let the fight though. Hang on, if Frančić goes a bit wide, that may put pay to that temporarily. But if Frančić is a faster driver, Bristol might throw on the side and let him through. He might not. We might see a fight between teammates, which is always fun to see. But I'm not going to speculate on what's going to happen interventions because, well, you don't have the manager. How can you know?
I think William Tringus in this particular scenario would be quick to disagree with you there, Josh. You never want to see your teammates battling, ever. You want communication, and you want it to be done as quickly as possible. As a team manager,
if I had 2 drivers who could battle cleanly and I trusted them to, I would let them know. I'd say that much.
Yeah. Actually, I do notice the 2 enterprises are together as well, so that could get fiery. They are losing Ruiz by quite a way. Paulini P10. Losing a lot of time to Niels Brugman, actually. Might be worth checking out this battle down here on the edge of the top 10. Niels Brugman started P14. Remember, had a non-score because of a penalty in race 1 in Bahrain. So he's looking to bounce back the Dutchman and, of course, the brother of championship leader Lars Brugman. Paulini had a great qualifying, has had a decent start, but he could be finding himself falling back a little bit now, as Niels Brugman might have a little sneaky look down into turn 2 if he gets a good exit here.
Yeah, Niels has got a chance. Speaking of Brugman's, Lars is not that far behind from David Frančić, who's absolutely making inroads on Mr. Capit down the back of this straight. Making huge inroads indeed, but can't get the job done yet. We'll have to wait a short amount of time for that. I've got this entirely wrong though, I think. De Vries is actually losing time throughout the last lap, but gaining bits in sector 3. So
He's gaining time on Capit, isn't he? But he's still losing time to Holm.
Yeah, so he's kind of getting, it's kind of a reverse sandwich, really. It's getting where the bread's getting further away from the filling. Because, yeah, Frančić, though, starting to put pressure on Capit. This is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be where I'm keeping my eye, personally, because it could lead to some things interesting as Lars Brugman is trying to have a go at Frančić, but it ain't working.
Very difficult part of the circuit to overtake, and it seems to me that Frančić is building up quite a bit of a train here. Tulikas has broken a little bit free of Beresford, along with Muscat here and there, starting to latch onto the back of this Street Fighter train. Now, you do wonder whether Capit, who would have thought this? Capit a bottle cork?
Yo, you'd never think that. That is news. That is a headline right there.
Well, you know, here we are. And Capit not really making any inroads on the front 2. And, Frančić gaining ever closer. It does look like it's the braking zones, isn't it? Which he's really starting to gain. Brugman, though, he won't want to care about how quickly Frančić can overtake us. Looks like Ruiz had a bit of a problem here back in P8 and P9, sorry. And Dino Paulini goes straight around the outside of him into turn 16. That's a nice, clean move, taking advantage there. What happened to Ruiz, though? I'm guessing he completely lost it under braking into turn 14. Actually did incredibly well to hold the car in the right position. Paolini gains his up to P9, Ruiz down to P10, and now he's got Niels Brugman all over his neck.
He does, and Brugman, depending on how much of a tow he gets here, might just have a chance to break into the top 10. We'll be interested to see if he can or not. And speaking of Brugman's again, Lars...
they're getting close, aren't they?
He's staying there. I'll grant him that. He is sticking with Frančić and Capet, but he's not finding the opportunity, or maybe if the opportunity's there, he's not taking it, to go for P4. And that, I think what he's thinking is stay behind these two.
Oh, here we go. That's a mistake, sorry, from Frančić on the exit of turn 5 there. And Lars is going to try and go around the outside, maybe get the undercut, which he has done. And now he's going to be on the inside of turn 7. Now he's going to be on the inside of turn 8. And that is very, very smart driving from Lars Brugman. He's up into P4.
I was just about to say, his tactical be wait behind these two, see if one of them makes a mistake. Indeed, Frančić has scrapped. And now Risto Capet has some serious Dutch food for thought on his mind here, in the form of Lars Brugman.
We'll have to see whether Frančić can't fight back. This is a very long curved straight. Lots of slipstream to be picked up here, especially with the DRS, which could be in effect now. It comes into effect anywhere between lap 3 and lap 5, dependent on track. And I don't see any instant DRS, so it's probably going to be lap 5 for this track, especially given that it's longer. David Frančić unable to do anything there, though. I do notice that Right Tulicus is on the back of Jason Muscat as well, so could a battle spark up there? Scott Beresford not too far behind either. These lot are 3 seconds ahead of Paolini, who's pulled away from Ruiz in P10, so Paolini all on his own, and now Ruiz holding up Brugman, Bracan, and Van der Voort all in one long train, and McGlader's got his own train to think about in P14 as well. Milan, Klont, and Strana in close pursuit as well. Excellent racing all throughout the field, and excellent stories still to develop.
Yeah, props to Strana for getting to P17. He has made a very good fight back in just 5 laps. Don't discount the points finish for him if things go his way. But Sven de Vries will be absolutely not very happy with himself at the moment. He's 1.6 down on home, will be out of DRS range, so he knows he won't be making any inroads anytime soon. But his goal, I think, is just really keeping ahead of Capet at the moment, because he's gaining on Capet. That's all he'll want. The second place isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things.
Battle for P6 here, Jason Muscat versus Right Tulicus, the Estonian right on the back of the Maltese driver now. He was right behind him through turn 4, but obviously you get a lot of understeer when you're running under a rear wing through there. And as you can see, Right Tulicus already suffering in the dirty air, and Scott Beresford, his teammate, now right back with him. So that was a short-lived little bit of interest. Up ahead, Lars Brugman still hasn't lost David Frančić, but you can see he's visibly caught up to Risto Capet. The Dutchman is really in with a good shout to the podium here, especially if he gets to move on Capet done sooner rather than later. And maybe then he could perhaps look to catch up on De Vries home ahead. We shall certainly wait and see.
Yep, it's going to be a battle of time here. As you see, Brugman has got so much more on Risto in the fast section of the track. Lars has to be running considerably less downforce to get that extra speed. And, well, what his goal now will be is keep it nice and close through this last twisty sector. Keep close enough on the back straight to get a good tow. Whether he'll have the DRS or not is beyond this. I'll keep an eye on his rear wing to see if he does. But he's within range if it is active. It's going to be his goal, because he could full well have it done into 1 here, or through
is that De Vries? That is De Vries! Sorry, De Vries has spun out of the final corner. I don't quite believe it. Lost it on the edge, clipped the inside curb, and now he's going to be even more unhappy with himself because he's down to P5. Awful mistake from the American.
Yeah, now begins the fight.
Sorry, behind as well. Sorry, Tulicus on Muscat. No, that didn't go. Sorry, back to you.
I was about to say, the fight back's for Sven now, because it's going to frustrate him, but we all know how good he is in situations like this. We know he's faster than Capet, and Capet, possibly a bottle cut for Brugman and Frančić. Sven could be within a shout of getting that second place back, no problem, but it's going to give a huge breather to Adrian Holm, who is really running away with it.
6.8 seconds now clear of Risto Capet in second. Brugman
looking very good on Capet here, sorry to interrupt, James.
Yeah, he is. No, that's fine,
really
that's fine.
Close.
He's all over the back of the Estonian here. But look at David Frančić as well. Up the inside of Brugman, who's gone slightly wide through turn 9 there and turn 10. And Brugman getting his elbows out, trying to defend that position. He's got to be careful. And now here comes Sven de Vries. Down the main straight, we could see 3 wide. And look at this. So we've got Brugman ahead. Frančić still there, but look at De Vries. He's going to try and take advantage of Frančić getting boxed in. Oh, and there was contact, and that was... He stuck his nose in where it wasn't welcome. And, well, I'm not sure about that one, Josh, but a bit opportunistic there from De Vries.
Yeah, he went down the inside. It didn't quite work because there was an incident. I'm not wanting to say whose fault it was, but, you know, that's all going to get sorted out by the disciplinary committee after the race. But unfortunate for David, he has dropped down to P5, but it's not that much of a loss in the grand scheme of things. It could have been a lot worse.
No, he's still well within seeing distance of the top 5. And so back to P6 and P7 here. Tulikas lines up for a third assault on the position. Jason Muscat holding toe, though. It seems that Tulikas is just quite happy to stay in behind and keep position. Just putting the pressure on Muscat, trying to hope that he makes a mistake.
Yeah, that's what his goal's going to be here. Muscat, of course, very, very good driver, the Maltese. Very good, but Tulikas going very aggressive on there. He wants it, you know.
Very good driving between the two of them. No moves as of yet. But we'll certainly hope that there are moves to come. And actually, because of the speed of this train, Dino Paolini has begun to reel them back in. Meanwhile, what has happened to Edgar Ruiz? He has fallen all the way back to 20th. So Niels Brugman's now in P10, Maurice Bracken's P11, and Tom Vandervoort's in P12.
That's not going to be very good for Ruiz. It's not benefiting them at all.
Something has happened to him. He's got all of his components on his car. And so,
maybe he just spun.
Maybe
he just spun and didn't hit anything.
Unfortunately, my my replay isn't playing with me today either, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Niels Brugman either way benefits majorly. Although looking at Tom van der Voort and Bracan here at P11 and P12, this might be a battle going soon. Bracan holds on for now. Watch out from Lewis McGlade though as well. He's holding on to these lot, and you could see more points positions coming his way very soon. Back up to the battle then for, where should we go? P2, shall we? With Risto Cap still holding on from Lars Brugman. You think it's only a matter of time now, surely?
Yeah, I'm surprised no DRS has happened. Well, at least I can't see it. Nothing really happening, so why... It's probably going to... Well, it must just be a visual thing for me. He's getting...
It's very small on the rear wing. Oh, here goes Lars Brugman. And he tried to scare Risto off the road there. Didn't work. But he's getting closer, Lars, as Sven de Vries is back through on David Frančić. Oh, no, that happened on the map, so never mind me. Don't mind.
I was about to say there, I can't say anything on the rear wing. Maybe it's just a graphical thing for me. But he was making serious inroads on Kappa, so there must be something happening. But Brugman is good. Yep, it is working.
The DRS is absolutely working,
confirmation from our cameraman Ben Willis there, but it's going to be it's going to be the DRS zones where he gets the inroads done, because he's got less drag, he's got more straight line speed, probably running less downforce than Kappa anyway. Risto is going to have a serious job defending from, and he's going to have to make use of the corners.
For those who are interested, our two DRS zones here today are down from basically the last corner of the track down to turn 2, and also turns 12 and 13 into the braking zone. Those are where the braking zones for the DRS are. The activation zones, of course, are a little bit behind them. So down straight, for example, that is where Lars is gaining all of his time. You can see there, under braking, he's got a lot more speed going into that corner. That is where he gains. But obviously, with the less downforce, he's got to be careful, because even though it is flat out through there, it is still curved. And so if he's too aggressive with his wheel, he's going to find himself in a spin due to the lack of downforce. Either way, these two are starting to pull away a lot more significantly now from Sven de Vries. David Frančić all on his own in P5, with Jason Muscat still under a load of pressure from right to because there. As Scott Berso goes flying off the track in P8. Looks like he's having a bit of trouble staying on there, Scott. As Dino Paolini as well goes off the track there at the final corner. We've got Brugman P10, Bracan P11, Van der Voort 12th, McGlade 13th, Milan 14th, and Eric Strana now into the points in P15. He's got Dennis Jordan and Menno Klomp for company as well, so that final point is absolutely not decided either. I think it is my lag again, so I apologise again, but back to Risto Kappa and Lars Brugman, still very close. But when will Lars go for the move? Does he even have the pace to be able to make a solid move?
I think he's just biding his time more than anything. We've always got it in him to lead races and win races, but what's not helping is the corners if he's running less downforce, because he won't be as quick as Risto through there, in theory. Of course, in practice we don't know, but he's going to have to wait until the straights to make the inroads, and if he's not close enough there, inroads cannot be made, and he's going to get stuck behind. So I think pace-wise, Lars is better off. He's just not getting the chances, or not taking the chances that he does have.
Is this the moment, Josh, when you perhaps decide, could a pit stop be the way forward here? As Tom Vandervoort is tumbling down the order, and he's gone off there at turn 9 and turn 10. Let's see what happened. I think he lost it all on his own. Yeah, he cut the inside curb there at turn 9. Found himself in a spin. No parts lost. But it does mean that he is all the way down to P19. And Dennis Jordan, therefore, takes P14 because he's gotten ahead of Eric Strana.
Well, that's a good one for Dennis Jordan. Jordan's going to be very happy with that, obviously being ahead of someone like Strana. But look at this. Look how close Brugman is on Cap this time. Only 4 tenths in it. And if he's going to make a move into 2, it has to be now, you feel.
You'd imagine so. Otherwise, it might just have to be the undercut for Brugman.
Look at the speed. He's got to have it.
As Terence Grech retires from this race as well. Capit goes defensive. Brugman goes to the outside to try and get the better line, which he does get. And it's going to have to be a spectacular move around the outside of turn 4 here into the braking zone of turn 5. If Brugman is to try and attack him here, will he go for a late break? Yes, he is going to go for a late break. The two go side by side, but Capit holds on. A stubborn defense from a stubborn driver who won't take any less than 100%. Great defending there from Capit. Brugman sure to be getting frustrated now.
Yeah, but look how close he is. If he can just keep this up until the back straight, he has a very, very, very good chance. Oh, goes a bit wide there, actually. But
got De Vries on them as well now.
Yeah, if he can keep it close enough, he has a very good chance of taking that second place. But as you rightly say, Sven De Vries is caught right back up with the American, hopefully about to get embroiled in a three-way fight for seconds.
I've just noticed as well, Jason Muscat in that has overtaken David Francis for P5, so maybe a mistake from the Croatian. I mean, he was in a world of his own. They're heading down to turn 14 here then. You can throw a blanket over second, third and fourth. They're that close together. Brugman will want to get a move on Risto Capit done sooner than ever, with Sven De Vries breathing down his rear gearbox now and heading into the second of this chicane section. Through turn 17 we go. Into turn 18 and 19. These two corners will be crucial for Brugman because this will set him up for the run down to turn 2 for the 12th time of asking. All of this, of course, helping Adrian Holm, who's now 10 seconds clear of Risto Capit. An incredible gap given that we're only 12 laps in. They're heading down to turn 2 now. DRS open for Lars Brugman. He's closing, but he's not closing enough. He's going to dive to the inside. Is he going to make a late dive for it in total? Yes, he is. Risto Capit tries to defend and does defend, but he clips the outside curve at turn 3. And how on earth he stayed ahead of Lars Brugman is a miracle. It is a miracle, I tell you. But will he stay ahead of him into turn 5 now? He goes defensive. Lars Brugman's there, still unable to get past.
Well, it's going to have to be where the gap between the two coming out of the last turn is less than 3 tenths or thereabouts 3 tenths. Because otherwise, there's going to be too much distance. And the more these two fight, the more it's going to benefit to Reese because they'll be slowing themselves down. And if he can keep it nice and calm, nice and tidy, he'll be close enough to mount a challenge on Brugman. So this is all helping Sven. He's thinking, go on and fight each other. It's only going to help me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a saving grace for Sven, who spun at the final corner. Usually, if you do that so early on in the race, you just lose a heap of positions. We saw it with Van der Voort in the midfield. And Sven, lucky boy, and actually he spun a couple of times in Bahrain, didn't he? And still recovered from both of them to win the race. But here goes Lars Brugman, having to go into the first of the chicanes here. Unable to do it, though. I thought he was going to catch Risto out, but the Estonian was able to respond nicely enough, and Sven's just rubbing his hands together. He loves the sight of this.
He does, yeah. It gets a little bit squiggly out of there, but it's not going to cost him too much time. I'd say the gap between Brugman and him is now about 0.3 or 0.4 of a second. But it's going to be, again, the teller. How close is Lars Brugman going to be? Coming to out of here, it's 4 tenths again. Oh, actually, it's 0.35. So it's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to get it done. But we'll have to see whether he can.
Heading down to turn 2 once again then. Holm has extended the gap to another 1.6 seconds. And Lars Brugman just content to stay in line there. Behind, though, was that? Yeah, it was Francis getting back ahead of Jason Muscat. So the Croatian back ahead of the Maltese drivers. The two Enterprises much closer as well. And look at Dino Paolini as well, starting to catch onto the back of this train. So the German really starting to reel in the top 8 now. Niels Brugman a little bit too far behind. He's a further 5 seconds behind Brugman, so the top 9 have really broken away. Holm even more so. It's something that Lars Brugman would like to do if it wasn't for Risto Capit currently sat in front of his Team Proline car.
Yeah, that would be beneficial, but Capit is there, and Brugman wants to try and make a move.
He tried it, didn't he?
He tried, bless his heart, but it is not happening for whatever reason. Risto Capit just putting out such a good defensive drive here that, as he said before, it might be the pit stops that change this, because there is one mandatory stop in race 1. There are 30 laps. And I'd argue it's going to be about now where drivers are thinking making pit stops and Brugman go through once more.
Oh!
Nearly,
Wow, what a twitch on the
nearly.
braking, and my word, De Vries lost it on the braking as well. I can't believe that Brugman didn't crash into Capit. I can't believe that De Vries didn't crash into Brugman. Thankfully, all 3 of them come out unscathed as David Francis there under all sorts of pressure once again from Jason Muscat, and now Lucas Beresford and Paolini are all onto them as well. So we've got great scraps in the top 10 here. 1 for the podium, 1 for the major point scoring positions. And I remind you, if you're new to the Super Cup at home, we have a second race here, 18 laps long today, with a reverse grid of a random number between 6 and 10. So currently that's Jason Muscat down to Niels Brugman. Wonderful drivers in that field, in that little group there, and they are all battling for a chance to at least guarantee themselves a better position for race 2. Currently, Jason Muscat in arguably the best of those positions in P6. Of course, he'll still want P5 from David Frančić.
Of course he will. Jason Muscat will be charging his force, Malta force, as hard as he can to get to Frančić. But nothing's happening at the moment. And, well, speaking of nothing happening, Lars Brugman will be getting absolutely frustrated with himself now. Inroads are being made. You could put the amount of inroads he's made in a football field and it wouldn't be enough to hold them. But he can't get it done. And it's likely he'll be thinking, the only way I'm going to get Risto here is to jump in them in the pits. But the earlier you pit, the worse it is. So it's going to be even worse for him. He'll be wondering when to pit, but he's got to beat Risto.
It's up 14 to 30, so we're almost at the halfway point. It's flown by very quickly, as I do notice, actually. Right, Tulikas here, on the back of Jason Muscat. Will the Estonian look to take him? No, he won't. He was just going to try and pressure him off, not off the road, I would say, but just pressure him into the corner, try and force the Maltese driver into a mistake. But, I don't know what I would do if I'm Lars. I don't know what time he's planning to pit.
Evidently go in!
He's pitting now on lap 15 of 30. Lars Brugman pulls in. Very interesting early call here from the Dutchman. We will see whether it pays off.
Well, I have to say, yeah, I was about to say, well, I said that, well, evidently go in. That's what he's chosen to do. And I'm going to watch to see if anyone else joins him. Nobody else has joined him so far.
He's by far and away the earliest pitter.
By far and away the earliest. Van der Voort wouldn't have had much to lose by pitting early, but chooses not to.
Sorry, going up to P5 now. Sorry, right Tulikas on the inside of Jason Muscat. Contact between the two. But right Tulikas had the corner, and he's got it done. And could Scott Beresford capitalise on this as well, his teammate? Right Tulikas bided his time. He took his opportunity nicely. And into turn 5 we go. Scott Beresford slides through. And that's an Enterprise double move. Nicely done.
Well done indeed. Brilliant move. Edgar Reith has come in as well, as well Morten Verneson. So these two in the lower end of the positions, not in points paying positions, don't really have much to lose. Lars Brugman has come out in P15 in all this. So that's points paying position nonetheless. And Risto Capit will be thinking, when do I want to pit now? Because I know Lars has got the advantage there. But he's thinking he might be quick. Overall goes very wide. But Risto has got to be thinking about pitting.
Lars has got a lot of traffic. He's got Jordan and Strana immediately ahead of him, and Milan not too far up the road either. So, will Holm blink? Will Holm... I think Holm's actually not the one we're worried about. He's going to continue on anyway. Will Capit blink? That's the one we're interested in. He's clear of De Vries now, at least for the moment. Will he think it's time to pull in now? No, he is going to stay out, as is De Vries. What about Frančić? He's going to stay out as well. As is Tulikas, as is Beresford, Muscat as well. But Dino Paolini decides now is the time to pit. The German becomes our third major pitter, as does Niels Brugman as well. Following Lars in a lap after his teammates, of course. Bracan, McGlade stay out. Milan comes in P12, as does Jordan. So actually, this frees up a lot of space for Lars Brugman. He's only now got Strana directly ahead of him to overtake.
Yep, that's going to be brilliant for Lars. He's going to get all these people out of the way. Strana direct ahead. Eric's going to be happy with the fact he's 10th, but he knows that he hasn't pitted yet. He knows he has to pit. Lars has pitted, and that's not going to aid matters for the Swede, but Brugman has got not as much traffic as he had before. He'll be able to push the car a bit more. It's got some nice clean air to work with. But the question is now, when is Capek going to pit? When is he going to blink?
We've seen Capek go for very long distances before, so it might be that he's just going to trust in his own race strategy.
I was about to say, it might make more sense to have Frančić go in the lap before, so at least they're not double stacking it, but of course, cars have their own pit boxes, so...
Well, it's worth seeing Frančić going first to see relative how far away he is from Lars. Because he wasn't too far away from the Dutchman and the American and the Estonian's fight, was he? As Dino Paolini, by the way, comes out in P14. Niels Brugman, however, comes out in P16 behind Riera, so it's not worked out for Niels.
Has not worked out for Niels Brugman. No, it hasn't. He's gone all the way down, and he's got to pass Riera to get into the pit, into the points now. But let's have a look at Risto Capek. Thinks about it, but maybe the attempts for Reese. Goes right where-ish, tries to tempt the American, but Sven knows better, maybe. I don't know what that was about. Maybe he was just turning the wheel a bit. Could just be me being paranoid, but... Frančić does not pit. Tulikas, no. Beresford, no. Muscat, no. Bracan, yes! There he does pit. And
as does McGlade. And what about Strana? This will help him out. No, Strana staying out, so Lars will have to get past him the old-fashioned way, I reckon. Unless Strana, of course, pits next lap. I imagine we're going to be seeing the majority. Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, wow, he's on Frančić. He brakes later. And unbelievably, Tulikas has got fourth. Now, where on earth did Frančić lose all that time?
Well, he was making serious inroads on the straight, so it might have been out in the last corner. That's what I'm thinking, but Tulikas indeed into fourth. Great move for the Enterprise driver.
This is for position as well, I remind you.
And this is for position. Frančić, of course, yet to pit. Tulikas, don't know whether Tulikas has pitted or not, but either which way he's ahead.
Has he? Neither Enterprise has pitted.
That is for net position, which is important because it's going to put him ahead of the stops, which is going to help in more ways than one.
Oh, he's gone off track, though. He's just about recovered it, but that was maybe his tyres going off Tulikas. It's interesting, though, actually, seeing the difference in Tulikas this year, because he was one of the earliest pitters most times last year, and here he is, sitting in the middle of the pack, one of the later pitters.
Gone wide there. Looks like he is struggling big time with these tyres. Now, Frančić is just going to go for it down the back straight. He's before they even get into the next turn, and it's got to be pit time soon for Tulikas. And that it'll get him some fresh rubber on. It'll allow him to show his pace once more. And, well, looking at Frančić, he might
looks
not
like he's
pit.
Struggling as well.
But it'll be interesting to see. Well, Capek doesn't go out. De Vries does, though.
De Vries is in.
And is Frančić going to join him? This is going to be interesting. No, he doesn't.
Tulikas pits. We're expecting that, as does Muscat as well. Frančić and Beresford continue on, though. And what about Strana as well? Look at this. Now Strana is directly holding up Lars Brugman. Will Strana come into the pits? Yep, he makes a direct beeline for the pits. So Brugman is free. And actually, we will see where De Vries comes out in direct relation to Brugman. He's just coming down the straight now. De Vries has been let loose. I think De Vries has jumped Brugman in the pits here.
He has. He's got through.
He comes out ahead. Well ahead. Menno Klont goes round, by the way. He still is yet to pit. Right, Tulikas, though. He comes out into 8th. Here comes Dino Paolini now. He has pitted. He has gained a lot of time on Tulikas and Muscat. He was slightly behind Beresford before the pits. I think it's safe to say he has jumped Beresford after the pit stop. He's right with Muscat and with Tulikas, but we will see how that affects him late race.
Yeah, De Vries jumping Brugman is absolutely great move for the American. He's now ahead of the Dutchman. And, well, it's going to be interesting to see whether he can stay ahead. Because, as we know, Brugman has the advantage on the straights. But great move from Sven to get himself ahead at this point. And it's going to allow him to mount that charge on Beresford, Frančić, Capek and home ahead of him. I would not rule out a top 3 for the American at all.
Holm, our race leader, is into the pits on lap 18 of 30 here. That is the race distance of race 2, so that we know that he's perfectly fine on that front. Wopke Hoekstra in. Risto Capit, though, goes on. He is sticking to his guns. What about Francic and Beresford behind now? Francic in. Beresford going round again as well. So remember, we think that Paolini has actually jumped Beresford in the pits. We'll see whether Beresford has something else up his sleeve to perhaps re-jump Paolini.
Yeah, Paolini is going to take advantage of anything that comes his way here. I'm trying to get a Google go on Muscat here. Let's have a look at Lars Brookman.
There's Clont in as well, sorry.
Actually, let's not have a look at Lars Brookman. Who am I talking about? Yeah, we're
looking at Francic.
Francic, one person altogether. Yeah, that wasn't very good of us. But Brookman, speaking of Brookman, he's up to 5th now. Francic is going to wait. Tulikas can have him here. It's not very close, not very far between the two.
No, it's very close, isn't it?
About to rejoin the track. Tulikas just there. Very close.
I think Francic has got this.
Yeah, Francic has
got this just about.
Or not.
Oh, Tulikas goes for the late break. Oh, what a move. Well, Francic had a much tighter braking zone and turning circle. He couldn't do it done, and Tulikas takes full effects of the undercut.
Yeah, I saw him going around the outside, thought he's got a chance here, and chance he has taken. He's come out, and speaking of people coming out, Menno Klont's come out just behind Dennis Jordan, so loses the chance at 15th. And I think it's the German is Jordan, is going to have a very good chance at holding that if he can keep ahead of Klont. But it's not really where he wants to be in not points, as everyone wants to be in the points. But yeah, what a move from Tulikas to get ahead of Francic. Decides to use the outside of the track and makes full effect of it. It's Risto Capit coming around here. I suspect he's going to come in, but will he?
Yeah, I imagine so. I must say as well, great respect from David Francic as well, not to go careering into him. Risto Capit into the pits. So our new race leader is in. That will allow Adrian Holm to retake the lead of this race. And what about Beresford? Beresford in as well. So he and Capit are going to be the last of our pits. We'll see where Capit comes out in relation to the De Vries Brugman battle. We'll see where Beresford comes out in relationship to the battle in the midfield. Where is De Vries? De Vries is just coming around the second to last corner now. He has lost Brugman massively here, and they've got Wopke Hoekstra back marker in the middle of them as well. So De Vries coming down the home straight now. Capit's coming out though, and I think that Capit has easily got this. In fact, he does. Well,
that has helped the Estonian, but as we saw before, Brugman was catching Capit.
Oh, and look at Beresford here. Look at Beresford here, sorry. Tulikas is passed. Is Beresford ahead of Francic?
I think he is.
We'll see whether this is the case. Oh my goodness. Well, Beresford's long stint and Capit's long stint have worked to perfection. Both enterprises have jumped the entire midfield competition, and Capit, crucially, has remained ahead of his main combatants, De Vries and Brugman.
Yeah, that is going to be that's a huge aid for Scott Beresford, and there's not much traffic for the enterprises as well. And then not much traffic for, well, Sven De Vries either. I think Sven, he needs to catch Risto, obviously, to get a chance in second, but a top 3 would put him in good stead either which way, so might not be too bothered, but I'd expect him to be hungry for that second because he saw Brugman catching Risto earlier, and now he thinks it might be my goal.
2 seconds separates Capit and De Vries. 2 seconds separates De Vries and Brugman. I am actually quite interested here to see Scott Beresford in picks though, because David Francic is all over the back of him. Remember, cold tyres for Beresford, and Francic has been on these tyres for a couple of laps now, and in fact he is straight past the Englishman on the run down to turn 14, and that is deal done. The Croatian back up into P6.
Yeah, Francic knows what he's doing. He's got the warmer tyres. Beresford's going to struggle on those courts for a bit. Expect him to put some resistance up to Francic though. He will keep chucking at him. Everything that he can chuck at him, he will be throwing everything but the kitchen sink at the Croatian the Brit. But Capit and De Vries, gap is now down to 1.4.
Getting
that's
closer.
A significant chunk out, and Sven will be giving Risto some serious Dutch food for thought once again, as he's already had with the Kiss Brugman. Now he's so partially Dutch, I should say, more American food for thought.
And De Vries on a charge for sure. Just covering the rest of the positions, by the way. Niels Brugman still very much on his own in P10, but only 3 seconds away from Paolini now in this battle for the outside of the top 9. So Brugman could get some points, or more points I should say, perhaps by the end of this race. Maurice Bracan P11, Lewis McGladen a very impressive P12, Eric Strana up to P13, Boya Milan in P14 for ST, and Dennis Jordan currently rounding out our point scorers. Our retirements, so far we've had 5 of them: Fuller, Rauter, Waring, Grech and Hoekstra. Unfortunately, Ari Nieminen, the only car which has been lapped to date, and that date is lap 21 of 30. Holm 10.9 seconds ahead of Capit still. That is your lead gap. It is a massive, massive ask for Capit to try and get that back down in the remaining 10 or 9.5 laps, I should say, that we have of this race 1. But he will give it a good go. Nevertheless, I think probably the closest battle that we have got going on now is this battle for the midfield. P6 down to P9.
Yep, a big train going on there. Paolini, the tail end of it, leading all the way up to Frančić in 6th. Not really going to help anyone but Paolini, and them all being stuck in said train. But, you know, he could do something with it. Could catch Muscat, Muscat could catch Beresford could catch Frančić. Anything could yet happen. And speaking of things happening, it looks like the gap between Capit and De Vries has stayed where it is. So this is probably, where I want to be looking. As Frančić gets a bit squiggly there. This is going to give Beresford a great chance, because that was a crucial corner.
It affects you all the way down to turn 2, and on the longest part of the track where your accelerator is jammed firmly down, that is a big problem as Beresford's passed on the straight and into the braking zone. He takes the position with ease. Beresford back up to P6.
That's how crucial the last turn is, but Frančić is going to try and get him once again through 4. Be brilliant if he could pull this off, but it's going to be a case of if he can. Around he goes, decides against it. So not going to happen yet.
And it looks like Paolini's having a little look at Jason Muscat as well. This four-way battle has really sectioned off into a 2x2 affair. Beresford v Frančić and Muscat v Paolini. Remember, all crucial positions for the reverse grid over race 2. Ultimately, P6, the position which Scott Beresford is inheriting now. Arguably the best position to be in, because you'll be guaranteed a better starting spot for race 2. Will it turn out to be pole position? Will it turn out to be P4 or 5? We really don't know until that random draw has occurred. But for now, Beresford has got another 8.5 laps to go before he can call that P6 his own. David Frančić still right on the back of the Englishman's tail, and my word, really closing up to him through the braking zones. Look at Beresford's brakes there as well, glowing red hot. They are working hard.
Yep, got to be careful with the brakes, because if they start going, it's going to disadvantage him in more ways than one. Could lose them altogether if he's not careful. I'm fairly certain he knows what the limits of his brakes are. And, well, speaking of, I was going somewhere with that, but I don't know quite where I was going, so...
Well, we've seen brake failures across all 3 divisions so far in the career ladder. So, it happens. Mechanical failures are a much bigger threat in R Factor 2 than R Factor 1. Of course, the biggest threat for Scott right now, I think, will be David Frančić. DRS wide open for the Croatian, but unable to make any inroads on Beresford for now. It's lap 23 of 30.
7 to go then. Not very many left. I think people are going to want to start thinking about those charges if they can. But all Adrian Holmes going to be thinking of at the front is keeping that gap of 11 seconds.
He's extending it.
He's extending it, keeping it, extending it. What a drive it's been from Adrian. I mean, he got the pole. He got
second. He had
a
great
second
start
on the front row. Took advantage of the start. So it's led ever since. It's been a dominating drive from him.
It has been a very, very good drive. And could be a very, very good day for the new team Go Sport International. And that is for sure. They have one driver out of the points again, but they could have 25 juicy ones heading their way at the end of the race. I'm just having a little cheeky look back down the order. I think Muscat Paolini is still relatively close, but not close enough. I'll tell you, there is a close battle going on down outside the points as well. Menno Klomp versus Tom van der Voort for P16 and P17. Not really for important positions here, but still nice to see the two of them very close. We've had no more retirements since Hoekstra. So really, Beresford, oh my word, as Ari Nieminen was at a very odd position there trying to get out of the way. Going on the inside of turn 16, not really the best place. And that's actually really separated the battle between Beresford and Frančić. Now, Beresford gotten a real gap on the Croatian. So, Frančić Paolini, probably the closest battle for now, P8 and P9.
Yeah, Paolini and Muscat is going to be the one we're looking at, I guess. Paolini is going to want to try. I think he's within DRS range. And the inroads are real, it must be said. But can he make a go to the Maltese driver or not? He's going down the inside. Doesn't get the braking.
Safety is the better part of valour in this particular situation. Zurich need points on the board. Coming into this round, they were 11th. And dangerously 11th as well. Only 3 points clear of Kayala. So I think the main aim for Paolini today is to get the points home, first and foremost.
Yeah, points are better than no points as he just goes a bit wide there. Maybe starting to feel the strain with 7 to go, but I doubt it would be that. You know,
sorry, going back to turn 16 and 17, sorry. Menno Klontz just run Tom van der Voort off the road. The two of them fighting tooth and nail for turn 6, or for P16 here, I should say. And look at this, incredibly close racing. We'll go back up to the point scoring positions if there is an actual move on. But Van der Voort is very, very eager.
Oh, he's very hungry. And
a bit too eager.
Gilgily.
Well, that was a close one. Great save from Van der Voort, actually, but that's going to separate this battle for a while again. So let's go back to Muscat Paolini, because that's now closer. The battle for P8 and P9. I mean, Paolini would love this P8. He'd be kicking himself if P8 is the number called as the reverse grid for race 2. But he needs to put in just a little bit extra. Talking of a little bit extra, though, I've just noticed the gap between first and second, and it's down to 7.5. Here's Risto Capit mounting a late fight back on lap 25 of 30 here.
It may have been that Holm made a mistake. I mean, you don't just lose 4 seconds through nothing. But Paolini Muscat is, again, that's where it is. But interesting that Holm drops this time now. If he dropped it in about a couple of laps longer, it wouldn't have been as much of a problem for him. But Capit has got a lot more time to make that less time up. And that's not going to benefit anyone but Capit and the rest of the field, I guess. I'm just looking at Adrian Holm now to see if anything's going on. He seems to have resumed normal service, so may just been a blip, but you never know.
It looks to me as well that Tulicus is falling back into the hands of Beresford, and Beresford has fallen back into the hands of Francic as well. This battle for the top 5 certainly isn't over just yet.
Definitely not over. What's not over is the fact that Van der Voort and Klont are going to do, and goof! Wow, what a save from Menno!
He's maintained the position!
What a save from Menno!
I'm sorry, Ben, get a replay of that right now. That was absolutely incredible.
That was the most Menno piece of driving I've ever seen!
Unbelievable. He made it. I think, to be fair, Van der Voort did wait for him. Very courteous driving from Van der Voort, actually. But what a recovery from Klont. That was stunt car driving.
What happened there was he went round the 180 degrees and decided, nope, I'm not doing a 360 spin. Goes round the other 180 degrees backwards and just resumes normal service. Mental stuff
brilliant.
from Menno.
That's brilliant.
that's move of the season there.
Well, let's differentiate here. Definitely not an overtaking move. Best recovery by miles.
Best recovery I've ever seen in Supercup, and that will not change for a while, I suspect. Almost take 2.
I tell you what, it has been an utterly enthralling race here at the Sochi Autodrome. Really good stuff here from the Supercup, and it's not over yet as Beresford defending off Francic into turn 1. Beresford went ultra defensive. He's been able to hold off Francic for now, and it looks like he's actually gotten a good enough exit to keep Francic off round turn 4 as well. He's on lap 26 of 30. He's got, 4.5 laps left to complete. Will he be able to hold on, though? I'm not so sure. He's made a mistake there through turn 5. Francic up the inside. Will he go for a late break? Yes, he will. Beresford's going to hold on around the outside, though. But he's gone onto the slippery stuff, onto the AstroTurf. You don't want to be out there. Francic back through into P6. Beresford trying around the outside, but he's forced wide by Francic. That is a very, very nice, persistent move from the Croatian.
I'm just looking at the gap between Holm and Capit. It's down to 6.3, 5.9 now. I think Adrian Holm has run his tyres out too much and is just trying to get them home now, or is slowing down somewhat. Something is going on with the Swede there, because he's just dropped 0.4 to Capit. If he gains a second a lap, he's got... I don't think a second a lap will be enough. 1.5 a lap, we'll see him run the charge at the end of this race.
I tell you as well, Lars Brugman's dropped off the pace massively as well. Look at Right to Lucas all over the back of Brugman now.
Maybe running so hard so early wasn't the best choice.
As meanwhile, sorry, back in P12 and P13 here, Eric Strachan has just gotten past Lewis McGlade. So the ice cold past the Karyala. And the two of them still fighting. Looks like Lewis will probably try and hold on to that for a bit longer. But look at this. Right to Lucas right behind Lars Brugman. DRS will be in effect here. Could Wright be looking at a possible P4 here?
It could full well be looking at a possible P4 if he can get this move done. No, decides against it, so not quite happening for Right to Lucas.
Oh, he's cut the curb! Cut the curb, Brugman, on the exit of turn 3. Is he going to open the door? No. He had to close that very sharpish, though, Brugman, because Tulikas would have been through like a whippet.
No, he had to shut the door there. Wright's going to have to barge it open if he wants to go through. But speaking of things that he might be people might be thinking about, Risto Capit will be thinking massively about this race win. The gap is down to 5.6 now. He's cut it down again. I'm waiting for the next sector beat to see whether he's going to gain any more on Adrian Holm. But he will be thinking about it now. If he wasn't thinking about it before, will the Estonian. I think he can sense this could be his. If he can get the time done. Let's see, through this timing beam, what's it going to be? 5.5. So not making the inroads there, but making them elsewhere. He's got to find consistency and gaining time off home.
Right to Lucas on Brugman, sorry. Right to Lucas on Brugman. He's actually passed before they've even hit the braking zone. That is some serious straight line speed from the Enterprise, and Right to Lucas goes in very deep, actually, trying to keep Brugman off and out of the chicane. That was some neat defensive driving there from Tulikas. He knows what Brugman can do. And he's a little bit of a cut of the curb there, actually, on turn 16 entry. But he's gotten past the Dutchman and into P4, further down the order as well. Boyer Milan's just gotten past Dennis Jordan for P14 and P15. As long as they don't mess it up, they should be safely in those points as well. Tom Vanderbort's gotten past Monoklom for P16 as well. But now the lead gap is down to 5 seconds. It's lap 28 of 30. I think it's a bit too big a gap for Capit to get here. But you've got to worry about Holm's tyres. I mean, he's either cruising or he's had some serious degradation at the end of this race.
Yeah, 5 seconds in 3 laps may just be too tall an order, even for someone as talented as Risto. Give him all the credit in the world, only taking the 10th out over there, so might be just too tall an order for him. But you got to worry about Holm, absolutely. Something has happened. Either he's just flicked it onto cruise mode, or he's got tyre problems. One of the two. But Sven de Vries has made serious gap here to Right Julicus. He's 15 seconds ahead. Third is all but his.
Look at Beresford all over the back of Frančić as well. I'm thinking these Enterprise boys have been saving their tyres throughout the race, because all of a sudden they've come alive. They look much grippier and much faster than all of the drivers around them. Right Julicus now pulling away from Lars Brugman, and Beresford, who struggled to keep ahead of Frančić for the entirety of the race. Well, he was pressuring him for a bit there until he went through turn 9. But, I mean, he was very, very close to taking the Croatian for probably a third time today.
Yep, very close to doing so, and not quite though yet, but there's a chance. Beresford Frančić is, well, it's been an interesting one to watch. But let's just see if there's anything else we can have a look at. Because yes, this is a good fight, but there could be something closer. And I'll have a look. Oh, there was. And now there isn't. So let's just keep an eye on it.
I know. You looking at Milan Jordan, I know. It was very close. I think probably Muscat Paulini's still close. And look at Brugman. Look at Brugman, who's been sneaking up here on the last couple of laps. He's going to be in this battle for P8 near the end. Is it too little, too late, though? It's lap 29 of 30. I know that the gap's now down to 4.4 between Holm and Capit, but 4.4 seconds in, 2 laps? Don't think it's going to happen.
It's about as tall an order as the short, I'll give it that.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you there, for sure.
Going back to
sorry, Paulini on Muscat into turn 1.
Oh!
He's biding his time, Paulini, and they go side by side. Muscat just about holding on to the position. But Paulini, he's realising he's running out of time. He's got to do something now if he wants that P8.
Yeah, he's waiting all race. He can wait no longer. It's now or never for the German. Has to do it. Has to make some sort of move, and it's not coming to him. He had a chance there. Didn't quite manage to take that chance. But it's got to happen soon if it's going to happen. If it is P8 for the reverse grid, he will kick himself to Kingdom Come. But it's going to have to... He's been there all race. And now it's got to happen, otherwise it's not going to. As Adrian Holmes just about to wrap this up, you think? He's coming around the last few, and he's going to start the last lap. Yeah, he's not got as much of a lead as before, but it's still a very healthy lead.
He actually extended it over this lap. I think Risto's really pushed his tyres up too far now.
I think that he's realised he can't catch him.
Yeah, so Holmes is going to come around the final couple of corners to go on to the final lap of this race. De Vries all in a world of his own. Tulikas fully pulled ahead of Brugman now. Frančić still has Scott Beresford for thoughts, but I think he's fended off the worst of the challenge. Muscat, though, that P8 is going to be under some serious pressure. Paolini is still right in the firing line here. And look at Niels Brugman as well. Any mistake from these two will lead to Niels Brugman benefiting massively. Holm on the final lap of this race now, heading around turn 4. Capit 4.1 seconds behind. Unless Holm makes a mistake, he is not going to be taking the lead or the win here. Tulikas 4th with Brugman 5th. Frančić has got a healthy gap over Beresford here going down to turn 2. Paolini, however, is closing and closing and closing on Jason Muscat. It's going to have to be a late dive. It's going to be a late dive if he's going to make it stick here. He pulls to the inside of the Maltese driver. He brakes later and he's finally got it. Dino Paolini takes P8. Got to close the door, which he does, and he's also got to be careful. Jason Muscat will be looking at possible ways. He knows this track well now. He's going to have to find a different way to get past, but no, Paolini covers the line well. It's all about Paolini just staying on track now, putting his car in all the right places, and he can take that 8th position back to Mazurek. And actually to Jason Muscat, he's got 2 things to worry about, because here comes Niels Brugman as well.
Yeah, what a move from Paolini. He knew time was running out. He took the chance he was given. He saw the chance, took the chance. The chance became his certainty of 8th. Well, not certainty, but given 8th place. And Adrian Holm has got to give him first as he's coming around these last few to complete what will be pretty much a perfect race forward.
He may have had pole position stolen away from him, but he stole the lead in a 3-way train down to turn 2. From there, he's never looked back. And he's certainly not going to be looking back now. Adrian Holm takes his first win in Supercup. It's Go Sport International's first win in Supercup as well. Risto Capit, what could have been P2 from pole position. Sven de Vries will round off the podium. An incredibly impressive bounce back from Wright Tulikas. He'll be taking P4 for Enterprise GP. 5th ahead of Lars Brugman, whose tyres have really fallen off here. He just about takes P5 from David Frančić. Scott Beresford, Dino Paolini will take P8. Muscat P9. Brugman rounds out the top 10 and the potential reverse grid candidates. Bracan will get more points on the board for Fox in 11th. Strana, after a terrible qualifying, I think will be happy with P12, to be honest. Lewis McGlade will be happy with points in general. P13 for Kayala. Dennis Jordan, the same with Evolution. P14 there. And Boya Milan rounds out the points in P15 for ST Racing. Your retirements from this race were Mark Fuller, Marcel Rauter, Andrew Waring, Terence Grech, and Wupke Hoekstra. As have we lost Mr. Anderson? Oh, okay. Apparently Mr. Anderson's going to be back in a minute. Never mind. So, what an enthralling and excellent race that was. Great battling. Incredibly exciting pit stop strategies. Wonderful duels throughout the field. And I think a result which everybody will be happy with. Holm, lovely guy. One of the cleanest racers out there. Deserving of that win. Absolutely. That's brilliant. That is what Sochi can produce. And once again, I think I'm pretty proud that Supercup has been the field to show that you can race around here properly. I don't think I saw more than 5 mistakes from people. That includes both just spinning on their own and just crashing into other people. In fact, I don't think I saw a bad incident with perhaps the exception of, I think, what was it, Van der Voort on Klont, in which case Van der Voort did an incredibly gentlemanly thing and stopped for him. And we saw Klont perform one of the best recoveries in the history of Supercup as well. So I think you couldn't have had a better Supercup race. I genuinely don't. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And we'd love to know your thoughts in the comments as well. Please do tell us what you thought of race 1. Once Mr. Anderson is back, he will probably have a little delve in and grab some of your thoughts. But now now that our gazes head on over to race 2. To remind you, it's a 6 to 10 reverse grid. And those candidates today include David Frančić, Scott Beresford, Dino Paolini, Jason Muscat, and Niels Brugman. So very, very, very interesting little group there. Frančić, he's taken a pole position this year, and I'm not sure. I don't think he's taken a win. He's certainly a podium sitter in the series. That much is for sure. He took a second place and the pole position in Australia. He took a third place in race 2 at Bahrain. I'm just going to have a little cheeky look at last year. Not a race winner, Frančić, but multiple podium sitter. Beresford, he is a race winner, a surprise race winner from Australia, race 1. Paolini, new to the series, but really starting to grow into it now. Of course, Muscat, multiple race winner here in the Supercup. And Niels Brugman, also new, but already a podium sitter. Again, taking a podium in Australia. So a very high caliber group there to potentially go into pole position as Mr. Josh Johansson is back. Josh, I've asked the YouTube chat as to their thoughts of race 1. I was just musing, couldn't have had a better race, I don't think. I couldn't count 5 mistakes or major incidents between drivers. Wonderful battling throughout the field. Great duels with people trying to take back each other's positions, and wonderful strategies as well.
Oh, absolutely. It was a wonderful race. One of the best I've seen in Supercup for a very long time. So, you know, it's absolutely fantastic. You know, it's great to see such racing. And, well, if race 2 is anything like that, I'm going to need the non-alcoholic drink I've just gone and obtained. It's becoming a staple of my things, isn't it, really?
Yes.
If anyone watches me elsewhere, you'll know that I like to bring out the alcohol-free alcoholic beverages.
What are the chat saying then, Mr. Josh? Did they enjoy the race as much as we did?
Let's have a look. Let's have a good old gander at that.
Good old gander.
Yeah, a good old gander. Satellite Racing were very impressed by Meadows' move there.
Yes.
Even my girlfriend just said, damn.
Damn.
Says them. Yeah. Well, not actually that. I'm sure in some sort of American accent it would have sounded like that. But, well done, Adrian. Much deserved to say as well. So, yeah, it was a very well-deserved, a very, very well-deserved thing is, we're just restarting the server here. So, yeah, I've just looked in the in-game chat as well. Sven DeVries says, way to throw back a second place. If the car, I think he put the car into reverse for some reason.
He did. Which I don't understand why to have a reverse gear mapped for that very reason.
Maybe he was in first and accidentally downshifted one too many.
To fight back to a third place, though, once again, really showing his credentials, though.
Absolutely. I touted him for the win. May not have got the win. But with driving like that, you wouldn't have put it past it to have got the win.
We were both wrong. We should have kept faith in home.
We should have.
There we are. That's why commentators don't do punditry work, because we're often many times wrong. We can have a good guess, but...
Yeah, good thing we're not pundits. If I was a pundit, I'd just guess the back markers every race to make myself look like an idiot, so...
We've got as much chance of getting something right as me being relatively capable in a social situation, so... in other words,
same chance with me.
Not good.
Yeah. I'm sure at least you've got a girlfriend, unlike me, though.
Oh, no, but see, I'm just talking about general friend situations. Like, I'm all that... I'm the person who sort of... I never start the conversations. I'll contribute to something.
Oh, I'm which is the same.
It's ironic, since I'm a lead commentator, I've got to lead the discussion here, but I'm kind of... I know I've got something to talk about. Most times I'm like, so Robot Wars is coming back. And then everyone just looks at me like, what? And then I'm like, your childhoods, they didn't exist. Because, you know, Robot Wars is the best. Along with need new friends. Yes, probably.
Yeah. Must say, absolutely agreed on that, though, James.
I can't wait for it to come back. I'm sad that they've dropped Craig Charles, but I'm very happy that they've got Jonathan Pierce back.
Yeah,
one of my favourite commentators.
I think Darryl O'Brien's going to be quite good, actually. I mean,
I think he'll be good.
I've not seen a lot of him, but I've seen a couple of things he's in, and he does seem like a very entertaining person. So
he was fun in Mock of the Week. He was on a space show as well, wasn't he? With
yeah, Darryl O'Brien did the space thing.
The northern smart person.
Brian Cox.
That's one.
Yeah, so he was on some sort of space show. I know that. So obviously knows his stuff.
Stargazing.
Yeah, very well versed in mechanics as well. So Oh, we've got a reverse grid number as well, and it is...
Number 7, so Scott Beresford on pole from David Franchich.
So ultimately for Dino Paolini, that would make no difference then.
That's the second time that Scott Beresford has been on pole in 3 races. In 3 rounds, sorry. Because remember, he was on reverse grid pole in Australia.
Oh, it's obviously fixed then, isn't it?
Obviously fixed, clearly fixed. That's sad for Paolini actually, because he went to all that effort to take Jason Muscat all for nothing, except an extra point.
Well, a point's a point. It'll help at the end of the day.
A point is a point.
I'd kill someone. Well, I wouldn't kill someone for a point. That's going a bit far. But I'd kill time on the track for a point.
You'd kill time on the track for a point. How many hours would you put in to get an extra point at GPVWC?
Oh, I'd put my entire life in. I mean, I scored lots of points in Vintage Series, but I like points.
You got a top 5 in Vintage Series.
That's never going to happen again.
It doesn't matter how you got it. You still got a top 5 in Vintage Series. That's an official result.
That is an official result, and I'm proud of it. But I'm more proud when there's more people and I score lower points because it feels like I've worked harder for it.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Like I've always considered it's not really as good a points position if I haven't worked for it. Like, if there's 15 people in the race and the top 15 get points, I won't feel like I've worked for points. But if there's 30 and I get 15, I'll feel like I've worked for it.
See, I'm the other way around. All that matters to me is the result at the end of the day. So, as long as I've scored points, I don't care how I've gotten them. As long as I've not taken out anyone, of course, because then I would just be completely upset with myself because I know I'd lose the points most likely through a penalty and deserving of a penalty as well. But yeah, I just wanted the point at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how many people fall off the road ahead of me. It doesn't matter how many people I overtake. As long as I scored, then I was happy.
Yeah, I'm the sort of person who would be happy with an 18th if I'd come back from 30th. So it's about overall gain, and points are a nice bonus because I've never really had many, and I've lived without them. So
Dino Paolini says that. Well, I think Dino Paolini is thinking that it is absolutely fixed because it says that he has been 1 spot behind the reverse grid pole position 3 times in a row.
Wow.
That sucks big time, Dino. I hope you get a reverse grid pole position someday.
You certainly deserve it.
Goodness me. That is sad. But
yeah, Bristol can be making a very good point, though. Everyone has a price because of the GPV rankings.
Oh, yeah, because Dino was asking, do I get a price? Yeah.
Oh, and Mike Pittman just put through a message on Facebook, which I'll not relay through here.
Yeah?
Yeah, he said something, which I don't know whether it would... It's a statement, and, well...
Would it be directed at Supercup or me?
It's not actually a criticism of anything. It's quite a funny statement, but it's regarding his own team. I think he just wants to hire people.
Bring it through to me. On broadcast, on TeamSpeak. I'll be the judge of this.
Well, go on then. You're only going to see it anyway, so I mean, yeah, it's a funny statement, and I agree with it. I agree with it. I agree that it's funny.
Put it through.
I agree that it's funny.
Let's have a look.
All right, but yeah, people like points. Points are a good thing.
Points are lovely, but I have so much envy for the people who just enjoy racing. I really do. Yeah,
I think the same thing could be said about a different team as well.
There's a lot of things which could be said for a lot of teams, but yes, we should not repeat that. That is a funny in-joke, and the majority of the audience would not get that.
Yeah, let's not bring that to the podcast.
So we should leave
between me and a select few.
But yes.
Jokes are the worst kind of jokes because no one else gets them.
No, I agree entirely, and it's so sad as well. There's 2 bad kind of jokes for me. There's in-jokes, of course, which means that you need a very select group to be able to enjoy them with. But then there's the recounting of events, the recounting of funny events to other people. Like you had to be there to find it funny.
Yeah.
Those are... You want to share those wonderful experiences with people where someone did a dumb, but then they don't find it funny because your retelling of events is just... Well, okay. It happened.
Like, in the same sense as only people who were watching World Sports Series back in 2013 or are part of this community will know that I did a double formation on the left spin malarkey.
You did, yes, and then you
And
came
then somehow
through the grid on your own.
Somehow started from second reverse grid as well.
Those are good times.
I wish I could start second again.
That was back with the old GT3 mod as well. Not GT3, sorry, the Porsche
Carrera Cup. That's the one. That was an interesting mod.
Interesting.
Great, some good racing though, for sure.
Arguably, though, Flat 6 has done better. But this isn't World Sports Series, this is Supercup. And actually, now that we are 3 rounds in, we'll call it 5 races to be ultra picky. Do you think that the Formula Renault 3.5 has really cemented itself as a good mod for the series? Like, can you see us using it for the next 2-3 years?
I can, yeah, and see it being retained at least for next year, at the very minimum. I think it's definitely shown that it can put some good racing. It's a great mod. I've done a great job with it. Other mods in the career ladder we'll have to evaluate as we go, but Supercup definitely good.
I think there's definitely question marks over Formula Challenge for being too complicated, but then again, very limited choice in that field, unfortunately. And there's certainly a couple of things that need to be ironed out with the Super League mod. Apparently, it might be a bit too heavy. On which point, I've just reminded myself, apologies for the lack of Formula Challenge broadcast yesterday. The simple fact of the matter is that people want to learn cameras, but they don't have the PCs good enough to be able to, A, stream it, and B, stream it at a good enough graphic settings for the audience to not complain. And the people who do have the capabilities to do that don't want to learn the cameras. So that's why no Formula Challenge broadcast happened yesterday. Hopefully there'll be a Super League broadcast tomorrow. I know there wasn't one last week. Thankfully, Supercup is here for all of your consistent needs, and consistently on pole position in race 2, it seems. Scott Beresford, for the second time in 3 rounds, leads us off with David Frantic, a man who we had a great battle with in race 1, P2. We then have Lars Brugman, P3, with Right to Lucas, P4. Sven de Vries, P5, with Risto Capit, P6. Adrian Holm, P7, with Dino Paolini, P8. Jason Muscat, P9, with Niels Brugman rounding out the top 10. We then have Maurice Bracan, P11, with Eric Strana, P12. Lewis McGlade, P13, with Dennis Jordan, P14. William Molan, P15, with Tom Vandervoort, P16. Clont is P17, and our Genius Riera is going to be P18. Tobias Olsen starts P19 with Edgar Ruiz P20. Danny Asbury will be P21 with Morten Wernerson P22. Ari Niemann's P23 with Wopke Hoekstra P24. And Mark Fuller is P25 for ST, and he rounds out the field, which means that we are missing 3 drivers. I don't see an Andrew Waring. I don't see a Marcel Rauter. And I don't see who would be the 3rd driver.
I'll tell you what I don't see.
And it's Terence Grech, yeah, so I don't see a second racing team Schroten.
I'll tell you what I don't see. Anything. None of the cars are on track for me. Could be worse.
Great.
I'll have to rejoin the server.
Have you clicked on one of the names?
Yes, all of them are re-clicked, and it's just the grid. So
okay,
I'll have to rejoin the server. Worth
just rejoining then. Out of interest, though, we've got Beresford, Frančić, Brugman, Tulikas, De Vries, the top 5. Capit, P6, Holm, P7. Who do you reckon's going to win this race, Josh?
Well, I'll have to wait until I have the grid back up again so I can see it for myself, but...
I just told you, the top 7.
Oh,
Beresford, Frančić, Brugman, Tulikas, De Vries, Capit, Holm.
I'm going to say... I'm going to keep consistent and say De Vries.
I'm going to go for Lars. Lars is in 3rd. He's in a very good position. And I think a big benefactor to Beresford in race 2 in Australia, where he took his only win in Super Cup, was that it was a slightly different mod in that there was more dirty air. He doesn't have that luxury this time around. Frančić as well in there as well, looking for his first win of the season. His first win in Super Cup overall, actually. So he's certainly a possibility, as is Tulikas as well, of course. A podium sitter, De Vries, Capit, Home, now all race winners themselves.
It's going to be a fascinating state of affairs. We've got 18 laps of race 2 to come. Who will be in first place. At the end of it, we got 3, we got 4, and we got 5. And to round off our time here at the Sochi Autodrome, we are racing, and it's a good start from Beresford. He's clean off the line ahead of Francis Brugman, though, with a better start than Francis around the outside of turn 1. Brugman is in fact ahead, now down to turn 1. Looks like Beresford's going ultra defensive already. Couple of people in the midfield trying to jostle as well. Brugman around the outside of Beresford into turn 1 though, and he's only gone and gotten it done. What a fantastic move from Lars Brugman to take the lead of the race. Beresford down to P2, Franjic P3, Adrian Holm up to P4 already. Great start from the Swede. De Vries P5, 2 Lucas down positions again to P6. Looks like he's going to lose another one to Risto Capit though, who's going to take that P6 away from him into a turn 6 as well. And it looks like Jason Muscat's going to muscle his way through as well. He's going to go through into P7. So 2 Lucas dropping positions like a sack of spuds, although he's been able to retain that one actually around the outside of Muscat. Niels Brugman up to P9, Paolini P10, and that's Brackhand round, and that's Lewis McGlade caught in there as well, unfortunately. Actually, Brackhand didn't come off that badly as everyone's trying to muscle their way through turn 9. There are far too many cars going into the same corner, but Lars Brugman with the best start by far. He leads from Beresford. Frančić, though, under all sorts of pressure from Holm, who is already up on the back of the podium positions. And I tell you what, with this excellent start from Holm, I would not be surprised if he could go on and take a second win of the evening, the first double win of the year. It'd be an impressive feat, but he's got the pace to do it. De Vries P5 with Capit P6, and Muscat is now past Tulicus into P7 there. Tulicus all over the place in pace. In fact, he's going to lose another position to Brugman in P9, heading into the penultimate corner. Just about going to save it though, actually. But as we head into lap 2, it's Lars Brugman from Beresford, Franjic Holm, De Vries Capit, Muscat, Tulicus, Niels Brugman, and Dino Paolini rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Asbury and Riera have both retired. They may have had a coming together there, so they're both out. So it's going to be a one-car affair for Go Sport once again. But is it an 8-2 interchange about race win prediction of Adrian Holm? Because I agree, he could do it.
As Eric Strana gets past Dino Paolini around the outside of turn 1 there, the Swedish driver is up into the top 10 for the first time this evening. Stark contrast to Bahrain 2 weeks ago. And it seems that things have settled down a bit, though it's all up to David Frančić now. You imagine that he's going to be the critical driver in this affair, as he's the one, unfortunately, tasked with the job of holding off the dominant Adrian Holm from race 1.
Yeah, and it's a very tough job to do indeed, because Frančić, well, the gap's not very much between them as it stands. Holm is just going to want McGlade's out in all this. McGlade's just retired, I've seen that.
He was completely taken out. Brackhand lost it on the exit of turn 8, and McGlade had nowhere to go.
Yeah, unfortunately that happened, of course, but, well, we'll just have to see.
Is that De Vries on Holm, sorry? Yes, it is. De Vries on Holm. This could provide a little bit of a spanner in the works of Adrian Holm. De Vries trying to go around the outside of turn 14. Not going to work, though. Holm holds on for now. At least we do have a battle this time.
Yeah, we're going to fight between the two. De Vries, who, well, I'm going to actually, Holm round a bit. Well, yeah, a bit of a spin. Not maybe feeling the pressure on De Vries there, who, of course, I have touted for the race win. There's no point in changing. De Vries going to put all sorts of pressure on the Swedes. And, well, whether he'll crack or not, I doubt he will crack. But he's got to give it a go, does Sven?
Let's have a look. Going down the home straight now. I think actually the closer one will be Beresford and Frančić here. The two of them had an almighty scrap in race 1, and now it's round 2. Heading into the braking zone. Beresford is neatly ahead. Behind, Holm holds on from De Vries. The look at Rate Tulicus. There we go. Got his name eventually. But that is a little bit opportunistic there. Muscat entitled to hold the line. And Tulicus comes off worse there. He's down to P10.
Paolini having a go. Maybe he's going to take that off him. Going defensive though is Tulicus. And no chance for Paolini yet.
Yes, it's difficult. You can't go through. It's incredibly hard to go down there side by side, and ultimately Muscat had the racing line. Tulicus was the one who had to overtake and take the title line. So down to P10, the Estonian will go now. He's got to get past Eric Strana if he wants to have a fight back at both Niels Brugman and indeed Jason Muscat again. Well, he's very close now already. Looks like Beresford's actually been able to hold on to P2 a little bit better than I was expecting. Frančić has still got home to worry about here, and it's going to be a big worry as well, especially with Sven de Vries bearing down on them as well. Risto Capit all in a world of his own in P6. No one to fight ahead of him, no one to fight behind him either. It's quite boring for the Estonian, actually, as Holm is right on the back of Francic once again. Look at this. Really up the gearbox here. And as I say, it's going to be an incredibly good job from Francic if he can hold off Holm, although a little bit of a tank slapper out there of turn 16. It's a very difficult corner. Goes uphill and then goes immediately downhill. And Holm, even one of the better drivers around this circuit, is still getting caught out.
Yeah, even Adrian Holm can get caught out. It's a tricky circuit and a tricky last turn for certain. So even the best can have their moments around there. But Sven, knowing all this, is going to want to keep on the back of Holm.
Oh, Holm.
Holm is want to keep on the back of Francic. He's having a go, tries to look, doesn't look ultimately, and thinks better of it. And gets a bit of a skid on there as well. So possibly starting to heat his tyres with a bit too much.
He can see that Lars Brugman is not pulling away from this battle. He has remained about 1 second ahead of Beresford for the 3 laps that we have completed so far, and he is not pulling away one bit. So he needs to get past Francic and Beresford pronto in order to... In fact, the gap has come down over the first sector. Holm is in with a real shot of winning this race, I'll tell you that now.
Yeah, but if he keeps keeping these little slides up and going wide, he's not going to, because De Vries is going to have a chance to overtake him before that happens. And look, well, the gap is closed again. It's closer than it ever has been. And Sven's got to be thinking, got to make something happen. But now is not the time, unfortunately.
Might be into turn 14, though, depending on that exit. Looks like Lars... You know what? Any of these guys could win this race. Looking at the pace of Lars Brugman, I thought he was going to run away with this. Scott Beresford closes down the gap to 9/10 of a second over the second sector. I do wonder, is was Holm going almost wide there? He's still got the Vries on him. Capit P5, Muscat P6, Brugman P7, Strana P9, or Brugman P8, sorry, Niels Brugman. Eric Strana P9, Right Tulicus P10, and Dino Paolini P11. Dennis Jordan P12, Van der Voort into the points in P13, Bracan after that early spin P14, and Olsen into the points as well. He's P15, but he's got Edgar Ruiz for company as well, along with Wupke Hoekstra. To remind you, your retirement so far, Danny Asprey, Arginus Riera, and Lewis McGlade all out before lap 2. Talking of the number 2, looks like that might be changing very soon indeed. Scott Beresford going ultra defensive on David Francic, and I think Francic might just drive clean around the outside of the Englishman, heading into turn 1, and always hit the anti-cut there, Francic, and so Beresford will hold on for another lap.
Yeah,
or at least another sector, I should say.
Almost lost it indeed, did Scott, but Francic hits the anti-cut, loses the time. He's going to be given a slight breather for now. Holm has pulled away from De Vries, which will give Holm a bit of a breather, and Francic won't be getting a breather because Holm's still there.
Yeah, Beresford seriously needs Holm to provide some big battle to Francic.
And De Vries wants that as well because it'll slow him down, but De Vries will not want Holm to get through.
Absolutely, the gap has been increased to 1.5 seconds between Lars Brugman and Scott Beresford. The Dutchman has really got his skates on now, and here goes Adrian Holm on the outside of turn 8. He's not going to get anything done there. And oh my goodness me, Adrian Holm has spun. Risto Capit goes through to P5. Jason Muscat through to P6. Niels Brugman through to 7. Strana through to 8. Tulicus through to 9th and Paolini through to 10. Adrian Holm rejoins in 11th.
And he's bent his steering, he's turning left as well, so this could be very problematic for the Swede. I thought he was making a couple of mistakes more than he did last race.
That is a seriously crabbing car, isn't it? Seriously crabbing.
Think he's probably decided to get it. Fixing it would take a lot of time. This could be either a very bad race or a flat-out retirement for Holm here. But that is going to give Sven de Vries all of the breathers in the world right now. That was who he was aiming for to overtake. He's now done it by hook or by a crook, or by Holm's mistake in this case. And Holm
is into the pits.
So this is either going to be a retirement or an attempt to fix the car. But De Vries in all this, what a shame indeed. And Wise, yep, De Vries has got to try and defend from Capit in all this, but possible podium or race win?
Oh, yep, and here comes Niels Brugman, through on Jason Muscat, so Niels Brugman through to P6. I tell you what, didn't have the best of qualifying, but he's had a pretty decent race evening so far. Jason Muscat down to P7, next Strana P8. Right Tulicus has been unable to get past Strana, actually. His pace not as good as it was in the final stages of race 1 here. In fact, he's under all sorts of pressure from Dino Paolini in P10. Then it's a 3-second gap back to Dennis Jordan. We've got Van der Voort 12th, Bracan 13th, Olsen 14th, and Wopke Hoekstra now rounds out the point scoring position. Adrian Holman looks like he's going to continue. He's actually back out of the pit, so we'll see what he can make up from here, but I don't think he's going to be scoring points.
That car is now fixed, it should be added. So he's going to have to really shift if he wants even so much as points. But keep an eye on him, certainly. And, well, Bristol Kappa's going to be the Irons fan. De Vries lining up a potential manoeuvre if he can get close enough.
I think the big battle here now is going to be, these two. So 2nd v 3rd and 4th v 5th. Scott Beresford, I'm pretty sure, has just been able to keep hold of P2 because of the mistakes that Francic has made and the fact that he's had Holm breathing down his breathing down his neck, I should say. He does not have that luxury any longer. Francic can now fully focus on Scott Beresford. And, Lars Brugman is still within eyesight of both of these guys, but his gap is starting to increase ever so slightly now. 2.2 seconds to gap, and Francic with a very good shot of second here on the run down to turn 2.
Yeah, as a chance, we'll probably have DRS. He's making all of the inroads in the world. Beresford going hyper defensive down that first proper turn, it should be said. Francic round the outside, can't make anything happen quite yet. Kappa too far behind to go on De Vries, so no position changes yet.
Behind in P8 though, Tulikas is finally past Strana. That was into turn 1, and that was down the inside. So Tulikas up into P8. Will Strana get a comeback on here though, into turn 5. We've seen it done before. Strana, sensible though, he's not going to be overtaking there. And right Tulikas then fully up into P8 behind as well. Wopke Hoekstra through into P14, fighting hard with Austin. That was down into turn 1 as well. The two getting close. But Hoekstra up into P14.
Yeah, Wopke up into P14 now, going to benefit him too. No end. Olsen will be chasing and chasing, trying to get that place back. But it's looking to me like I think the gap between Beresford, De Vries and Francic has come down. I think De Vries is catching Francic here.
De Vries is catching, definitely.
Yep,
De Vries is absolutely catching. In fact, he could be looking at P3 right now. He doesn't just yet, but the two battles have become one.
Yep. In fact, where's Kappa in all this? Not that much further behind, so it has just become one big battle. And, well, De Vries... Francic round!
Francic round! And that is another person who has fallen foul to the difficult turn 16. Francic all the way down to P10. Good on him for waiting to actually rejoin the track safely. But he is down to P10. That benefits everyone below him. So De Vries up to 3rd, Kappa up to 4th, Brugman up to 5th, Muska up to 6th, Tulikas up to 7th, Strana up to 8th, and Paolini up to 9th. And actually, Francic might lose more positions still with Dennis Jordan directly behind him.
They're not giving Risto a chance at all. Goes ultra defensive, and Risto's nowhere near on the back straight. But I'd say it's more like the De Vries curse in this race. He's now gained 2 positions through people sitting ahead of him.
And it does get worse for Francic, by the way, with Dennis Jordan overtaking him into turn 1.
Yeah, that has not helped. And hang on a minute, Milan's now retired from the race in all this. Boy, Milan has.
And Hoekstra down to P18.
Well,
I don't know what's happened there, but Hoekstra down to P18 from the points.
Yeah, so Milan was at the round about the back bit anyway, so not really the most high-profile retirement ever, but still important to note because he is capable of good stuffs. But De Vries Kappa is staying where it is at the moment. No real inroads being made anymore. It's, become a word of this race, inroads. But people are making them.
No inroads from Scott Beresford and Lars Brugman, though. We're coming to the end of Sector 2 here on lap 8 of 18, sorry. And it's remaining at 2.9. With no Francic, we'll see whether Scott Beresford can start to put his foot down, and we'll see whether that bad tyre wear near the end of race 1 starts to affect Lars Brugman. We're back to P7 now. Eric Strana under all sorts of pressure here from Dino Paolini. And the German, he was upset not to get reverse group pole position for the 3rd time in a row after being 1 slot away from the number. But he's still looking at a very healthy weekend.
That is for sure. As behind,
Jason Muscat has lost his front wing. That is why Right Tulikas is up into P6. Jason Muscat has lost his front wing. I'm going to find out where he did that.
Van der Voort in 11th all of this. This will be really beneficial for the Dutchman.
I'll tell you what, Muscat lost it in exactly the same place Holm did. But this time, instead of the steering going a bit wonky, he's lost an entire front wing.
Ah, well, that's not very good, is it, Mason?
No. As Dennis Jordan holding on to P9 there. And who's that round? Is that Paolini? Paolini's round at turn 2. And let's have a look what happened here. He just completely lost it on the exit of turn 3. Went over the anti-cut. Round he went.
Franchic's down in 9th.
Yes, we've already covered that. Don't worry.
Oh, well, I'm an idiot.
Francis is up to 9th, actually, because people have been spinning and crashing ahead of him.
Yeah, Van der Voort right on the back of him.
Into the top 10.
Yeah, Van der Voort is going to get a top 10 in this race, and possibly even more if he can get past the Croatian. Would be brilliant if he could, but, Francis did spin earlier, didn't he? Yep, that's me being silly. I covered it,
yeah.
Josh.
So it doesn't, so Dino Paolini back into P12, by the way. This has benefited massively Niels Brogman, who's into P5, Tulip is into P6, Strana's zone now in P7, although Frančić is now looking down the inside of... Frančić has blown his engine! I don't believe it! David Frančić has blown his engine! How on earth did that happen? So, Street Fighter! My word, this race has just gone from good to downright horrible, and Frančić is out with an engine problem.
He just suddenly
Unbelievable.
He went into first gear very suddenly. From third or fourth.
Oh my goodness.
How in the blazes did that happen is beyond me.
That he was in the acceleration zone. That's a shift into neutral, surely.
But it showed first, and he wouldn't blow it from going into neutral anyway, so...
Unbelievable.
You'd think he would have put the clutch in and gone back up to third. It would have cost him a bit of time, but wow.
I said you could count the amount... Listen, you could count the amount of mistakes that were made in race 1 across the entire field. We've got them all left, right and centre here in race 2.
Yeah, we're going to get the skinny on that. Someone's going to have to tell what happened if they know. Please do. But...
Van der Voort, looks like Dennis Jordan's lost out a lot here, because Strana's up to P7 fully now. Oh no, he was in P7 anyway. Van der Voort's up to P8. Gotten past Dennis Jordan. Maurice Bracan into the top 10.
Go Van der
Paolini P11. Olsen P12. Klons up into P13. Ruiz up to P14. And Adrian Holm, who broke his steering shaft, he's been in and out of the pits. He's in the points again.
Well, it just goes to show how good he is, isn't it? I mean, if he can go in and out with broken steering, back into 15th, what is he doing to do this? He's just an absolute maniac.
Absolutely bonkers.
I got you at home. Get your head tested, this. He must be nuts to be going this quick, and he goes a bit wide there, but he seems to be
driving quick. Talking of driving quickly, that is something which is what Sven de Vries and Mr. Capit are doing very nicely indeed. They have caught right back up to Scott Beresford now for P2. It's lap 10 of 18. There's still a good half of this race left to go. And all of a sudden, that podium position for Scott Beresford is looking more and more tedious as Lars Brugman continues to drive away.
Yeah, Brugman and all this just charging away with it. Must be said, brilliant drive from the Dutchman. But speaking of Dutchman, Beresford has a Dutchman, well, part Dutchman, more American than Dutchman behind him.
Yes, a pseudo-Dutchman.
He's a pseudo-Dutchman, but he is an American, indeed, for all intents and purposes, is Sven de Vries. And, well, I don't know why I mentioned him as Dutch there, but, well, he is pseudo-Dutch, as you say. Hang on a minute.
He's of Dutch origin.
Yeah, I'm hearing that David Frančić pressed the pit limiter instead of the DRS. Why that would cause a shift down into first is beyond us, but...
Well, no, it would completely limit, especially on an acceleration zone. It would just completely limit the car. It wouldn't be as good as double downshifting, which, of course, is deadly to cars.
Yeah, double downshifts are absolutely terrible and so easy to do. But, you know, especially in sim racing. But they can be prevented in ways that are technically possible. But let's go back to this 2-3-4, I think.
Yeah, very close. And actually, looking at it, I think Sven de Vries will be lining up a move very soon. It seems like Risto Capit and himself have been working to get back up to Beresford. They know that they can have their own little battle, but they both want a podium. And here comes Sven de Vries then on the outside of turn 14. Beresford's going to try and fight it. Very close, a lock up into turn 14 as well. But de Vries remains vigilant. Oh, and Risto Capit goes round.
Oh, big time.
And that, my word, that was a bit of bumping as well. I'm going to go on board. That was very close between himself and Beresford on exit there at turn 15.
going on board with him now. Into turn 14 we go. Capit was... Oh, well, I mean, yeah, there wasn't much Beresford could do there, unfortunately. Thankfully, Capit doesn't lose too much in the way of positions. But he is falling back into the grasp now of Niels Brogman and Right Tulicus, who's picked up the pace massively, actually. And Beresford, at least, has a bit of a breather as Sven de Vries starts to pull away and maybe work on catching up to Lars Brogman. He's got the laps to do it, I think.
Now that's interesting what I've just seen from Sven there. He's going very defensive on the front straight, despite Beresford being not really within overtaking range. Maybe it's just a driving thing, maybe he prefers using that line. I've got no idea why he's doing it, but it might hurt his chances of catching Brugman on the straights. So, I mean, each to their own, everyone has their own driving style, does what they like, what's best for them, maybe that's best for Sven, but it's curious to see why he's doing it.
And now we've got Ruiz is out of the race as well, and that pushes up home to 14th. And Morten Wernerson on his return to the series, he hasn't scored points in Supercup in since 2013, so that's 3 years. He's currently in 15th.
Well, that's great for Morten. You know, it's always
absolutely
good to see. It's going to be fantastic. Points on his return will be, well, one of the best possible outcomes. Obviously, a win would be the best, but sometimes you just got to aim for what you can aim for. And Morten getting a point on his return.
Has Risto gone wide? Risto's gone wide. More mistakes from the Estonian, and he moves fourth here to Niels Brogman. Well, his boring race has turned upside down. Niels Brogman's through into fourth, and here comes Right Tulicus, his fellow Estonian as well, to pile more pressure.
Well, gets a bit of a skid on this Tulicus, but yeah, he wants to go at Capit. Now Capit's there, everyone's going to be biting at his ankles, and he's got to hold on.
This has turned into quite a more distressing race for Street Fighter than they first anticipated.
Not really going their way at all, because Frantic being out and Capit being fifth isn't quite what they want. But
and actually, this is worst case scenario as well, because they've got Team Proline, their main rivals, winning, and both cars are ahead of now the sole Street Fighter in the race as well. Possible suggestion from Ben Willis suggesting that Risto Capit may have damage from that slight contact from with Scott Beresford. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think his pace has been good enough.
Down in P7,
Contact between Capit and Brogman! Massive contact here! And I'm going to have a look at what happened. This was Capit on Brogman. Tulicus, I can't believe he avoided that. Let's have a look here. Brogman going through to turn 4. And yep, it was all Risto. All Risto. Unfortunately, he just drove... Well, I say it's all Risto. He wasn't anticipating Brogman going as slowly through turn 4. I don't know how you can go slowly through turn 4 since it's a flat-out corner, but either way, one for the disciplinary committee to review. Right Tulicus. Miracle to avoid that. He's up into 4th, and that looks very healthy for Enterprise now, because Scott Beresford, he's got a rear gunner who's 6 seconds behind. Van der Voort is up to 5th.
I was about to say he and Strana were having a do, and now Van der Voort's up to 5th. Wow.
Actually, has Brogman still got a front? Brogman's still got a front wing. That's insane. Niels Brogman's still got a front wing.
Incredible driving, incredible car holding up from Niels Brogman as well. It's going to keep him on the back of Strana, and Tom Van der Voort will be thinking now, go on you two, have a fight for 6th. I'll take advantage of it and run away with this.
Yep, I think Risto Capit's done. He's not going to score points from here, so Morten Wernerson through to 14th, home, up to 13th, and looking on the back of Menno Klont. He's going to be in P12 by the end of this race. Absolutely incredible, unless Klont can pull off the most defensive drive. So Ari Nieminen is now on target to score his first point of the season. Absolutely insane. All while this is going on, Lars Brogman continues to extend his gap at the front, by the way, up to 3.7. Sven de Vries has not been able to make much inroads at all. Again, words of the day there. And in fact, he's not been able to lose Scott Beresford by much, to be very honest. We then got Tulicus 6 seconds behind Beresford and 8 seconds ahead of Van der Voort. All he has to do is keep it on the grey stuff and he'll be on for that P4 at the end as well. Van der Voort then P5. Brogman P6, surely he must have picked up damage from that, and it's noticeable as well. Eric Strana all over the back of him.
Absolutely, Strana and Brogman now having a go. Van der Voort will be rubbing his hands with glee at the prospect of these two fighting.
Absolutely.
Because it gives him a chance to pull away and get a 5th, which would be incredible on his return.
especially after such a disappointing qualifying and race one as well. I think this will be a real big performance booster to the Dutchman as well, and it's been great. It's been great to see actually that he's gone the way that we hoped he'd go. He has kept his nose clean. As I say, there was the exception of that Clont incident, but apart from that, he has kept it clean. He's made some excellent overtakes, and fair play to him as well, because he's in a position that he absolutely 100% deserves.
Yeah, he's right there, right with it. Well-deserved fifth for the Dutchman at the moment. With 5 to go, he's in P5. And with Brugman and Strana possibly about to get embroiled in a fight, as it looks like they were or will be, he could have this fifth all done and dusted.
Jordan in P8 as well. That's another great consistent drive from the German, really putting the hurt on his teammate this year, who's had another retirement and DNS. Got to wonder whether Evolution will perhaps look at replacing him for a future round. It's just the connection issues constantly for Router, unfortunately. How ironic that the name is Router, huh? Paulini in P9, Bracan P10, Olsen P11. Adrian Holmer has gotten past into P12, Clont in P13, Wernerson P14, Neiman in P15, but 6 seconds behind is Jason Muscat, and as long as he sees Ari Neiman in his sights, he'll still try and fight after a front wing replacement to take at least a point from this round.
Yeah, even 1 point's better than no points, and being last in line to be at no points, that will be better than nothing for Jason Muscat and Multiforce. He wants it, but as long as he catches, he will be good indeed. Things will happen, and races will race. And Lars Brugman racing ahead of Sven de Vries. Gap is 2.9.
Yeah, that's come down massively. Sven de Vries has really stepped on it.
So Sven is really making the, to put it any other way, inroads.
Yes.
He's making the inroads. Inroads are being made. It's almost like you think I'm going to be being paid to say inroads.
Yeah. Joshua Inroads Anderson.
Gotta make it happen.
It's gonna Fuller's just retired from the race, unfortunately, from P17, so that's outside the points. It'll be a free position to Risto cap it at least. We have had 8 retirements from this race already. So now 2 more retirements and you're guaranteed points, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's a situation where I wouldn't really think I'd work for said points, but we'll agree to disagree on that one. And, Lars Brugman may be disagreeing with Sven de Vries only being 2.8 seconds behind him, but it's something that he's going to have to live with.
I must say, all of a sudden, it's gotten very quiet. Everyone is a couple of seconds away from each other. And I fear that the retirements that have happened have significantly dampened our potential dueling prospects. So let's reflect on what has been an absolutely and massively entertaining Supercup Russian Grand Prix event. We've had wonderful racing across the field. We've had drama. We've had pit stop strategies affecting the results. We've had championship leaders making mistakes, but we've also had championship leaders who have kept their cool, and at the end of the day will be extending their championship lead, because right now Lars Brugman is on for his 3rd win of the season.
And that would be a fantastic way to get the season early on started with. I mean, we're only 3 rounds in out of 18, but to have 3 wins already potentially is going to be a fantastic thing for Brugman. It's surely going to cement him as the title favourite going through the rest of the season. I mean, guys like de Vries, Beresford, Tuurlikas, Van der Voort. Watch Van der Voort if he gets a permanent seat, because he could be doing a lot of brilliant things in that car. But potentially, Brugman's going to be the one to look for.
We have a battle, and it's P8 and P9, and it's Dino Paolini getting past Dennis Jordan with ease. Again, turn 11, It has caught out so many people today, and it's caught out Jordan as well. No spinning into the wall for him, though, but it does mean that he loses that P8 to Dino Paolini.
Yeah, Paolini won't be very happy about that. Paolini
will be very happy about that.
Yeah, I'm getting me drivers right now. Both the cars are too blue. That's the mistake happening. There you go. Jordan won't be happy. Paolini will be happy. Paolini will be super happy, in fact. And that'll be great for him. Brugman will be, super happy he's leading and all this.
What about Proline?
They'll be extremely...
No Street Fighter scoring points in Race 2. That is huge. Especially given the Risto Capit leaves the series midway through as well. They need to get points on the board now, and this has been nothing short of a disaster.
Yeah, they need points. They need them now. I'm sure Street Fighter can bring in a fantastic driver to replace Capit.
Of course,
but,
yeah.
Well, whether we'll have the success of Capit is yet to be seen. We don't even know who it is. So
We don't know.
You know, there's all that factoring into it. De Vries knows though that he's got to start making the legendary inroads onto Brugman because he's 2.4 behind with about 2 to go.
It seems like it's a gap too big. Plaudits to Scott Beresford as well. From pole position to third, I think that's a pretty good conversion rate for someone who was going into this round not expecting to get any points at all. Right to Lucas, looking for 2 fourths in a row. Considering he only scored 2 points in Bahrain, that'd be a great bounce back. Of course, Van der Voort, P5. That's a very nice result, I think. And Niels Brugman, a really good reply event to Bahrain as well, from no scoring points to a lovely haul of points for his Team Pro line as well. So some really good drives. Paolini as well with a solid performance. Bracan scoring more points for Fox. Wernerson scoring points on his return to Super Cup. Niemann with his first point score. Potentially, he's still got to fend off Muscat, who's closing. But meanwhile, there is another battle to look to. That is Swede on Swede action. And that is Holm going through to P11. It is a real story of this race that he had to pit to fix a steering lock. And he's 3 seconds away from top 10. That's incredible driving from Holm.
Yeah, fantastic driving. He's really showing his stuff. Just as a point of interest, I've just started through from Mike Pittman again. We will be seeing Risto in the second half of the season, just not all of it. So, you know, there is going to be a replacement driver, but just not for all of the season. We will be seeing Risto again, as
he's on
Risto
service,
goes wide as a point of interest. But yeah, we will be seeing him, just not for all of it.
Maybe a couple of races then, because I'm aware that Estonian service takes up a heck of a lot of time. That's for sure. And even then, I do worry about Risto's practicing times, whether he'd be as potent as he is with all the time that he has now. But someone who, let's see, I'm just looking at Niemann v Muscat. I tell you what, Niemann might be a bit nip and tuck here for that final point. Muscat only 1 second away. I fingers crossed for you, Ari. Fingers crossed. Looking throughout the field, I think everything else is pretty much done and dusted now. Sven de Vries, though, I think fair play to him as well. Cut the gap down to 1.7 seconds. So it looks like Brugman's cruising, or his tyre problems might be back again. But either way, it's looking good as Olsen. Olsen's missing a front wing. Wernerson up to 13th. And I tell you, oh my word, Olsen's not going to score. He's not going to score. Niemann and Muscat are there. Capit out of the race with suspension damage. And coming around the final couple of corners, drama until the very end. Lars Brugman takes his 3rd race win of the season in 3 rounds. Sven de Vries makes it a double podium for himself, P2. Scott Beresford from pole position takes another podium to add to his name. It's a great day at the office for SimTech Enterprise GP. Almost got the wrong sponsor there. P3 and P4 for them. Tulicast 4th. Van der Voort, great day for Satellite, mind you. Look at that, 2 and 5. Van der Voort home P5. Brugman home P6. Niels that time. Eric Strana P7. Dino Paolini P8. Dennis Jordan in P9 with Maurice Bracan just holding on to P10 actually. Or is he? Oh, crossing the line. Bracan spun and home just only gets P11. Klon will be P12. Wernerson P13. Muscat's P14. And Ari Niemann spun. So without a front wing, Tobias Olsen will take the final point of the race. Oh, what happened to Ari? Oh, dearie me, what has happened to Ari? That is a real shame, but your retirement's from that race, everybody else.
Wow, what a race it was. Well-deserved win by Brugman, then De Vries 2nd, Beresford 3rd. I'm sure we'll get some of the people in for interviews later, but my driver of this race, I didn't do a driver of the race for the last race, probably would have been home though. Driver of the race has to be Van der Voort. 5th on his return, nothing short of impressive.
Just to give a couple of coverage to other drivers, I am personally going to go for Niels Brugman myself. I think that he had a terrible qualifying, but he responded about it in the perfect way, scoring points in race 1, setting himself up for a good position in race 2, and ultimately fighting through to get a P6, very solid result, and ultimately a perfect day at the office for Team Pro Line. They scored 2 top 10s, and Street Fighter score absolutely 0.
Van der Voort actually making a very valid point in the race chat there. Forever 5th is back. He's 5th here, so... But he's doing a good job to get set fifth.
Absolutely. Well, there we are anyway. What a great couple of races. You can drive and race properly at Sochi Autodrome. You just need clear and calm heads. And I tell you what, there wasn't even any major incidents in that race, were there? There's nobody taking each other out. It was people just dropping it by themselves.
Yeah, people just had mistakes at some points, and it just didn't quite work out, you know? People make mistakes. Mistakes are made in life. We are only human. Humans make mistakes, and mistakes can sometimes be bad. In this case, they were. But well done to all the point scorers and race finishers.
Absolutely, and we're going to have a little talk to some of them as well now. As soon as my... There we are, we got the thing working eventually. Right, let us start with race 1 winner, Adrian Holm. Now, Adrian, you had the pace of gods going into this round and couldn't get it hooked up in qualifying, still P2, but first race win in Super Cup, Go Sports first race win in Super Cup. And even though race 2 didn't go exactly how you planned necessarily, to come back from outside the points and finish in P11 is still a mightily impressive feat. Almost got P10 at the end there as well.
Yeah, almost pipped into the line, but yeah. But a great round for me overall. In qualifying, I had to bail after 2 laps because something happened home that I had to take care of, but no worries for the race. And yeah, race 1 was all about getting the gap, and I knew I could just conserve for the rest of the race after the pit stops, but I got a bit hairy since I had 2 or 3 laps where I had very low frame rates, but that went away and I was able to finish the race in first.
And what about that race 2 then? Just dropped it on your own by the looks of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I put a wheel on the outside the curb or on the AstroTurf or something, but yeah, it just went around. Was able to get out of the way of Reese, so I just kept the foot in it and spun around instead of stopping on the racing line, and yeah, pitting, fixing the damage, and then just having fun. Hot lap after hot lap, all on the line. Every lap was great fun.
It was great fun watching you as well. Really provided some good entertainment. So well done on your win anyway, Adrian, and your recovery drive in race 2. Moving on then to our race 2 winner, Lars Brugman. Seemed to me, Lars, that in that first race, your tyre wear dropped off quite dramatically, and it seemed like there might have been a repeat in race 2 as well, with Sven closing you down so quickly.
Yeah, I think so too. I was really struggling with tyre wear. Towards the end of the stints, I had reasonable pace at the start. I could keep up, but towards the end, I really had a lot of tyre wear, and my pace just dropped a bit.
Ultimately, though, actually, it ended up as a very good day at the office, especially in race 2. Yourself and your brother taking first and 6th. Street Fighter scoring no points in that second race. So is now the time to take the initiative and try and further extend that team's championship? Is there going to be any extra practice, perhaps, for Spain?
Well, I'm just going to keep doing as much practice as I can, and I'm already at a very high level of practice I'm doing, so I don't see why I should increase it.
That's fair enough then, fair enough. Lars Brugman then, and congratulations on your win, by the way. Moving on then to Sven de Vries. Double podium for you, a lovely day at the office, but you're making a habit of spinning in races, Sven.
Yeah, definitely. I was aiming for a double podium, but you always hope for a double victory if possible. Unfortunately, that wasn't available today for me. Adrian Holm had just an insane pace. I couldn't keep up with him. I was pushing as hard as I could in race 1, just trying to keep the gap under a second so I could use DRS and stay with him. I noticed I had quite a gap to P3. I think I was wrist at the time. So I figured it'd be safe to just try and push a little harder, and that cost me. Fortunately, I spun in a way which meant I had to reverse to get back in a straight line, which put me back in 6th. And from there, it was just a battle to get back ahead. Good race, I guess.
I would say double podium is usually a very nice... I would have loved a double podium in my time of driving, but
looking forward then, I mean, it's pretty clear that you're going to be in championship contention once again. You've not really lost any of that pace, but at the same time, the drivers around you in the championship, there's a lot more people on that podium pace than perhaps there was last year. So when looking at the calendar, you know, do you have any races in mind where you think, yeah, I could try and challenge big time for the win here? Or do you take it more on a race by race basis and just see where you end up in the pecking order?
I'll just take it race by race. I don't want to jinx it. I thought I did well at certain races last year. I was going to do well at certain races, and those were the ones where I messed up and lost a lot. And the ones where I thought I was going to do damage control, I managed to grab wins. So, you know, we'll just see what happens. But you know, so far it's going great. I'm very happy to have Tom on board now. Great team effort in race 2, finishing 2nd and 5th. I think, at least for as long as I've been part of the team, that's our best team result ever. So hopefully we can challenge the pro line guys, and you know, we'll just keep pushing and practicing.
Just to confirm then, is Tom a permanent fixture for the rest of the season?
Yes, that's right. He'll be here for the rest of the season.
Hey!
Interesting. That's a very nice addition to the grid.
I like me some Van de Voot.
I think everyone likes themselves some Van de Voot, and thank you very much. Who doesn't, exactly? Sven of all people, as you say, a really good score for a satellite overall. So thank you for joining us, Sven, and well done on your podiums and the team result overall. And we're going to finish up then with Mr. Scott Beresford. It must be said that Enterprise really didn't have the best of times in Bahrain, only scoring 5 points in total, but it went a hell of a lot better today, didn't it? And a podium for yourself as well from your second reverse grid pole position of the season. You're obviously pretty happy with that.
Yeah, collecting those reverse grid poles.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 is not bad. But yeah, I mean, first and foremost today, it's great for the team. I mean, 2 double top 10s. Can't really want much more. And another podium for myself, so I'm pretty pleased with that.
I mean, it must be said that you're one of the more modest drivers out there on the grid. It's fair to say you were coming into this round and aiming for points if you could get them. And then, of course, you come up with a top 10 in qualifying. And as you say, 2 top 10s, a podium included in race 2. Are you still keeping your aspirations for this year modest? Or do you think that there's perhaps room to extend your horizons to at least a top 10 in the championship, maybe a top 5 at a stretch?
I mean, I'd be delighted with the top 10. I think for me, I've got to keep it realistic in terms of my race pace isn't quite at the level as say, Sven and Lars and Adrian. I just have to focus on being consistent and sticking at the points. I mean, Bahrain was a bit of I could have done better out of that, but it was just one of those things. So hopefully if I can stick at it, I'll keep getting top 10s.
Too right, and well done on your podium today either way. And well, I would argue that was probably the best round I've commentated on for this season, Josh. Yeah, it had everything. It had drama, it had engines blowing up, it had mistakes from the top guys, it had popular podium sitters, it had popular winners, had a great qualifying session. We can only hope that as we head to the Circuit de Catalunya next in Barcelona, Spain, that we have more of that.
Yeah, more of that, please. I'd love to see more of that. Would be fantastic. I mean, if this race is anything to go by, I wish I was co-coms all the time, but we have a man that can do that.
Yes, Mr. Sam should be back in 2 weeks' time, but if you want to catch Josh, then there is plenty of action at the GPVWC either way to keep your beady eyes on. Hopefully, tomorrow, we'll have a Super League broadcast. It's going to be the Russian Grand Prix. I believe it's the first ever Russian Grand Prix held as well. So that should be good fun. Especially after no broadcast last time. I know that there's many Super League fans out there itching to see the cars out on track again. And then next week, we first of all have the World Sport Series on the Wednesday. That's round 2 at the Circuit de Catalunya, preluding the career ladder. And I believe that we have World GT next week as well.
We do, which I am on lead comms for, so you do get more of me.
You are on lead comms.
You do get more of me.
That's an Interlagos circuit as well, one of my personal favourite circuits. So be sure to watch out for that as well. And then, of course, in 2 weeks' time, it is back with the Career Ladder Open Series and Formula Challenge. Hopefully, again, fingers crossed on the Tuesday before we have the Supercup Spanish Grand Prix round on the Wednesday. So, I'd just like to take these final few moments to thank our cameraman, Mr. Ben Willis, for the wonderful action that he casts his eyes over once again to Joshua Anderson for stepping in so late for Mr. Sam Jones. It was a bit nip and tuck actually, and thank you once again for your wonderful service. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it is a very warm goodbye.